Hello, gamers. You're listening to the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 156. And welcome back to another edition of the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. I'm Brent Felsing, and joining me tonight, Frankie Ayler, Ben Boyce, and Bender Holt. Gentlemen, we're back from a week off, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about. But first, let's talk about what you guys been up to lately. Frank, let's start with you, man. What's new, buddy?
Ooh, where to start? I did a lot of adult things.
Oh, what'd you do?
Bought a new car.
Yes.
Did. Bought a Jeep Renegade. Very excited about it.
How you liking it?
Love it. It's a great car to have in Ohio because, as I'm sure you know, in Michigan, winter sucks a lot. So
winter doesn't want to go away right now.
Exactly. And I had a Dart before, and it's a great car. I loved it. It's probably the best car I've had to date, and not a good car for the wintertime. You know, they have very, very thin tires, and potholes are not friendly towards that. So, yeah, finally decided, you know what, screw it. I'm going to get a Jeep. So went out, test drove it 2 weeks ago now. Loved it, so traded in the Dart and got a Jeep Renegade. Very, very excited about it. It's very, very nice ride. I was actually kind of surprised because I've been told that they ride a little rough, but I don't think so. It's a pretty smooth ride, and I like being up higher. I'm used to being smaller cars on the ground, so that's nice. And got my wedding band.
Oh man, welcome to the club, man. I was telling you, that's like being branded. That just basically says. I give up and she runs my life. That's what that says.
Yeah, it's been that way for a while now, so that's okay.
Bender's like, that's why I don't buy one of those, because Bender's smart. Bender is smart.
Oh, it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, well, eventually it does happen, and it's a painful death. But anyways, Frankie, you got a car, you got a ring. What else you been up to?
I beat some games. Games.
What'd you beat?
Well, for starters, beat A Way Out. It just came out. Finally, I played through that with Crazy One from MLG. That game is really cool. There's a lot of really awesome, scripted set piece moments in that game. I know you guys are playing it, so you've experienced a couple of them as well. But man, towards the end of that game, there's a lot of stuff that goes down, and it's insane. The way that game wraps up is insane. So it was really cool playing through that. The other thing I really like is, and I don't know, if you guys mess around with a lot of the stuff in the environment or not, but there's certain things you can do that'll trigger these cutscenes that, unless you're like walking around, messing around with stuff, you're not going to find. I'm going to spoil one of them. One of the moments was you're kind of rifling through this house, right? So there's a banjo and a piano. So if you walk up to it, it becomes like a Guitar Hero rhythm thing, so you're sitting there playing that. But if you're both doing it at the same time, and I think if you both hit like a streak of 5 or 10 notes in a row, it'll actually trigger like a cutscene jam session.
Oh, really?
Awesome.
Yeah. So there's stuff like, I don't know how many of those like that are in there. I would love to play through and try and find more of those, but finding stuff like that was really cool. So, and the story is excellent. The voice acting is not always the best. And I thought for the longest time that the voice actor for Vincent was actually the same guy who was Bigby Wolf. It's not. I ended up looking it up after the game, but but I loved it. I thought the story was excellent, and it's a really, just the way that game plays, as you guys know, and those of you listening or watching have probably seen it on our YouTube channel, that it's a very stylistically impressive game. No connection issues or anything. For everything going on the different screens, there was no like hang-ups or anything, so that's a really cool game. Highly recommend grabbing a friend for that. I can't wait for Bender to play it now. I'm really excited because there's a lot of stuff you can do in that game. I'm curious how some of the other scenes can play out, so that'll be fun to go through again. And those of you following us on Twitch may have seen that we beat Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
You didn't see us beat Monster Hunter because Bender and I just tried it and it happened to work. And then Jamie had that mission still, so we hopped in with Jamie and were able to beat the final monster that we're calling Xenoblade. So good time.
You're giving the monsters your own names.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing. It's easier that way. So.
I dig it.
But yeah, that was cool. So we finally finished the main story. So now there's more missions you get, because you're Hunter Egg. I found this out the other day because I was curious. Because after we finished it, we both shot up to level 29. And I was like, no offense, Bender, but I've hunted like a lot more monsters than you. This is weird. So
Yeah.
I decided, I was like, 29 still sounds really low. So I was looking that up, and there's the mission we have now. We have to hunt 2 tempered basil geese. So there's that, and then once you finish that, it uncaps you, and then it caps you again at 49. So there's certain story missions that I guess will roll on and put another cap on, but I think it uncaps at 79, and that's when you just keep going from there. There's one last mission at rank 100, and then after that is just whatever you want to do. So
gotcha. So you beat that. Anything else?
No, not really. I mean, I've been messing around with Flint Hook on the Switch. I really like that game on the Switch, surprisingly. I've been playing it more in handheld mode than, usually I've been doing it on like the tabletop mode during the NLG show, because that's the type of person I am. And I was, the other night I was waiting for laundry, so I just grabbed the Switch and just was messing around with it because I think Jen was watching something on TV, and I actually did a lot better playing that thing like in actual handheld mode, which I was surprised by because I don't typically play the Switch like that. I'm not a big fan of it. But I just felt like, I don't know, like I was more reactive to everything going on. I didn't die. I didn't take a lot of damage as I was going through, which normally I get 2 or 3 levels in, die, and it's a roguelike game, so you have to start all over. So but I doing it on there, I haven't died yet, and I've like taken minimal damage, so I think I'm gonna keep playing Flint Hook in handheld mode.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
And see, Boyce died a lot playing with the DualShock 4, so I guess this proves that the Joy-Cons are the elite controller, the best controller out there. What do you think about that, Boyce?
That sounds like science.
Hey, man, whatever floats your boat.
Speaking of you, Mr. Boyce, what have you been playing, buddy?
Not much, man. This week we got a chance to fire up a Minute on the Tuesday Night Indie Spotlight, and that game's pretty slick. So it's a Devolver joint. It's made by kind of like this all-star group of 4 different developers that came together with a really cool idea to make a game that you play in like 60-second bursts. The crux of the matter with Minute is you're this like adventurer. You find this kind of cursed sword early on in the game, and this sword curses the land to basically kind of repeat itself in these 60-second intervals. So like you go through a day, 60 seconds, and then the day's over, and then you kind of repeat. It's like Groundhog Day, meets The Legend of Zelda or something along those lines. It's it has vibes of like the NES Zelda. It's a top-down like adventure game, and every time you get this new 60 seconds, you're kind of frantically running around the world trying to figure out what you can do, what you can accomplish, what you can learn about the world, what you can learn about the next place on your journey that you need to try to get to. And it's cool because as you go along and you start to unlock more things, you start to figure things out, you figure out just exactly how much you can accomplish in a 60-second time span. So you end up running across the world and beating this enemy. You're getting through this dungeon, and it's a really neat game, the way that they have it set up. Never played a game quite like it. It's got this retro like black and white aesthetic to it too that is very simple, but I think it goes with the vibe of the game as well. So Minute, from what I played, is highly recommended for a little bit of a different flavor in your adventure game. But I think it's unique. I think it's definitely worth your time and attention. I'm looking forward to playing some more of it.
Yeah, I'm actually with you, dude. That is one of the best indie games I've played in a long time. It's so cool how we talked about at the end of the stream. We didn't have it on your stream, but on my stream, I found an area that kind of gives you your statistics of what you've accomplished so far. And instead, I had been to 76 different areas. And you think to yourself, you're like, man, 76 different areas. You only got a minute to maneuver around. But it's cool because once you get to other areas, you find a new home. So once your time runs out and you die, you'll actually spawn at the new home, so you're closer to all the new objectives that you need to complete. And it's one of the most unique concepts I've ever experienced in a game. I really, really think Minute is an awesome game, and I hope a lot of people don't let this one kind of slip under the radar. It is a really well-done adventure game, and like you said, minimal aesthetic, but it's just a cool premise. The premise goes a long ways in this game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you meet meet all these kooky characters along the way, and they've all got different things that they're looking for, and these different side quests that you find yourself on to try and continue on in your journey. You get, new abilities that you come across as you complete these different quests that open up new things for your character. So yeah, it's just a really neat game, man, to sit down and play. So definitely give it a look. It's on our YouTube page. The last episode of the Indie Spotlight. Go ahead and check that out if you're curious at all what Minute's about. But yeah, highly recommended from the brief time I've been able to spend with it so far.
Anything else?
It's pretty much it, man. Other than Destiny, I've been putting in, I put in some time with it on Wednesday, as much as I could. But other than that, just been I'm exhausted. Been working a lot. I'm tired. It's been a long week and putting in 10, 11, 12-hour days this week. And my kids got a lot of stuff going on with sports right now as well. So I've been just beat, man. I've had very little time to do anything other than my other duties as a father and a worker.
Yeah, that's the thing. Life tends to interfere with gaming in many ways. So I feel you on that. Let's go over to Mr. Holt. Bender, what have you been playing lately, dude?
I haven't had time to play too much over the past couple of weeks. Just still playing some Xenoblade, trying to jump back into that, playing that here and there. I'm like over 95 hours in now, so I'm probably getting close to 100 in that game. So I'm still chipping away at that one. And then Monster Hunter with Frankie. It was very satisfying to finally beat the game, the story campaign at least. That last dragon that you fight is really huge, and it's kind of an epic fight, so it was really, really cool. And now we're gonna just keep working at it and try to get the rest of the trophies and chip away. The road to Hunter rank 100 starts now, so it's still enjoying that game quite a bit. Other than that, I mean, haven't really had time to play too much.
I feel you on that. Now, on your way to Hunter rank 100, I mean, is the platinum definitely achievable? I mean, once you get to 100, is there going to be much more you have to do, or is this going to be a bit of a grind to get that platinum?
It's going to be a bit of a grind, but it's definitely an achievable platinum. It's just going to take some time.
Right.
Nothing on the trophy list is super difficult to do. It's just, going to take time to get to Hunter rank 100. We can do the other stuff that we need to clean up on the way up to that rank. So yeah, that might end up being the last trophy we need is once we hit Hunter rank 100, because I imagine by the time we get there, we'll have done most of the other stuff as well.
Right.
So
the main obstacle I think for us is going to be the crowns.
The gold crowns.
Yeah, because the small ones don't drop very often. Your best bet to get those is they have a weekly list that they do in each area that you hunt 5 monsters, I think. We actually did one of them with the last stream we did. So there was Basil Goose, Odogaron, Great Gyros, and the Radoban. So it's like those are the missions that typically will, you'll fight the bigger versions. Some of them are in the arenas. But it's really just trying to figure out how to do them for the Elder Dragons, because you do need crowns for Nergigante, Tostada, what's the other one? Blue Eyes Steel Dragon, and Valhalla-Tosis. And Kieran.
And Kieran, yeah.
Yeah, so there's figuring out the missions we have to do to find those versions of those is probably going to be a bit annoying, but outside of that, yeah, it's just like I said, the small crowns are very rare to drop. I've gotten 2 so far, I think. And
are these are like the crowns like exotic weapons in Destiny, like just very rare drops, or even more rare?
Probably rare. At least in Destiny, now in Destiny, you kind of have some control over it. In this, unless unless it's like a challenge, one of the challenge arenas or something where you're guaranteed to fight one of the bigger things, it's very rare. Because the problem is the small crowns, you only get a gold crown. There's no tiers, but the large crowns, there's silver and gold. But for the trophy, you need gold, which doesn't specify that naturally. But you need the gold tier crowns for them, and a lot of the times we'll get silver. But gold for even the large ones in the wild's been pretty rare. So,
how many of those do you need for the trophy?
Jeez, how many monsters are there? You need one for every monster except for Zora Magdaros in the last one.
Oh wow.
So what, like 15?
Does it tell you in game which monsters
Yeah.
you've gotten the crown for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
it
you can
tracks
check
that.
in your hunter notes which
Mhm.
ones you have crowns for.
How many do you guys have?
Not many.
Actually haven't checked myself. I don't know.
I think I'm at 4 or 5 gold and 2 small. So
Okay.
2 giant and 2 small, or 5 giant, 2 small.
I guess that's kind of like the carrot on the end of the stick that kind of keeps you grinding to go for that, get those crowns. No, are those crowns worth anything once you pick them up? I mean, can you turn them in, or are they just there for collection purposes?
It's just there as a stat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the stat for like largest or smallest monster that you've found of that type.
Okay.
So,
It's pretty cool though, because sometimes you can tell when you're fighting them, like, holy shit, this dude's huge. Like,
Oh, really? Like,
yeah.
I was wondering, like, because I mean, I remember a couple times I'd fight one, and I think I was with you when you got a crown. I might have gotten a crown too. I know I have one crown because I remember it popped up, but I couldn't remember I couldn't remember if I fought them enough to be like, wow, that one looked a little bit bigger than the other ones. I mean, some of them are noticeably bigger.
Mhm.
Yeah, some of them are very noticeably a different size or bigger than the other ones.
Yeah, there's a mission right now that's live actually because of the Spring Blossom Festival. So if you play the game this week and you're doing the arenas, there's a Kula Yaku one. You do that one a couple times and you'll get Kula like tickets, so you can get a stupid looking Kula mask. It's great. I love it. But that one is actually a giant Kula Yaku, and I remember when we hopped in there, I was like, holy shit, look at this dude, he's huge. So yeah, we finished it and we got a gold crown for him. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, you guys
are
are definitely making your way through the game. I mean, your hunter rank's getting up there, and you got kind of like an idea of what your roadmap looks like to get the platinum. But it definitely sounds like you guys are gonna be doing a lot of grinding. But thankfully, you guys have enjoyed the game enough to where, hey, you don't mind committing to it.
Mhm.
And if you're following us on Twitch or even YouTube, these guys are streaming typically on Wednesday nights, sometimes Thursday nights after midnight. They go live and they go long too. So if you're up late on the East Coast, or if you're just getting home laying around on the West Coast, these guys are going for 2.5 hours each time. They're usually taking down a lot of animals. It's very, very entertaining stuff. Make sure you check them out. They're on both Twitch and YouTube. So great streams, you guys. Really good stuff. And let's see for myself. What have I been playing? I played Minute. Played some Destiny 2 with boys this week. And then I've also played quite a bit of Far Cry 5. Really enjoying Far Cry 5. There's a lot to do in that game. My OCD has kicked in. I'm not trying to rush through these areas and get to the end. I'm just going around. Dude, I think this last area, I'm in Henbane River, which is Faith's area. And I actually just took a plane and flew around the entire map until I had every outpost, every location unlocked. And then I go to these locations. I talk to every character that has a mission. So my mission list is growing long, but I'm going through and I'm just knocking stuff out randomly. And that's the beauty of Far Cry is you can just go, I'm like, what am I going to do tonight? Am I going to go outposts? And am I going to look for prepper stashes? I mean, what am I going to do? And that's the thing. You never really know until you jump into the game, see what you're feeling. And in the process of completing all these outposts and doing these story missions, you're like liberating that area. And at some point, I think I'm almost 3/4 done with Henbane River. Faith's going to summon me to wherever she's at for kind of a showdown with her. But really, really, really enjoying my time at the game. Haven't even tried the co-op. I tried some of the arcade mode. Not really for me. I mean, some of it's fun, but some of these maps are just terrible that people have created. I mean, worse than the cactus and mountain map that I came up with in Little Big Planet. People are trying to do like these battle royale maps. And every time you go into a game, and it pisses me off because like I'll go in this game, and there's you're playing this map, and it's already rated 1 star by the community, and you're just like, dude, really? So and once it starts, you have to play it to that thing. People are voting on these maps, and they're terrible maps. I mean, they're really stupid. So not a big fan of the arcade stuff. Haven't done any co-op to even speak to that. But from the base game, playing through these areas, going through these missions, the gameplay is great. It feels really good to play. It's probably right now at this point my favorite Far Cry game. I really do enjoy the story, even though, boys, we've all talked about it. The how would they tackle some of the themes here? They do a decent job, but it doesn't get quite as political as we were wondering if they would actually do it, which is probably a good thing. But there are some themes in there that they touch on that are kind of touchy now, but it's still very much a Far Cry game. There's a lot of over the top performances. The action is kind of goofy at times, but I've really enjoyed Far Cry 5, and I really hope you guys get to check it out at some point. Bender, your hometown of Hope County is absolutely wonderful. I love it there. Frankie, question.
I do have a question. So,
Yes.
last weekend, you posted this picture of your ship in Sea of Thieves full of stuff and just said, I regret nothing and everything. So, what did you do?
Oh God! So this is Easter weekend, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna get some gaming in. So I played a little bit of Far Cry 5, and then after I was like, well, I'll hop into Sea of Thieves and see what's going on. So I just joined a group of randos, and this was at about 1:00 in the morning. And I jumped in, and they had already had a couple of gold hoarders chests on their ship, and they're like, hey, we're running to do some missions. Like, all right, cool. So we go on a mission. We're doing these hoarder chests, and we find a message in a bottle. And we're like, oh, well, we'll go do that. And this message in the bottle had 5 treasures on the map. So we got all these chests. So we had a bunch of chests in the ship. Like, all right, let's go turn this in and make all the bands. And that's at about 1:30, 2:00. And as we're dropping this stuff off, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to hop up. But one guy's like, well, hey, look at this. And the Merchant Alliance, there were just out in front of the vendor was like 12 cages just sitting there on the ground. Now, typically, you can only get cages if you have a mission from the Merchant Alliance. You go back to them and you grab like a cage for a snake or whatever you're supposed to grab. And there's just 12 of them. I mean, there's snake baskets, there's chicken baskets, there's pig coop. I mean, all this stuff is like, okay, well, let's just go take these and go to these islands and pick up all this stuff and come trade those in. We got back, we dropped all those off. Then we went back on another gold hoarder mission because someone was like, hey, I need to do one more. We're like, well, it's already 2:00. Why not? So we go out, we grab those chests, and then we come back, and then we get attacked by this galleon of just jerks. They sink our ship, but they didn't take the 2 chests or the skull that we found on this other trip. So we go back and grab that, and they come back again, and we ended up getting to a battle, and we sank them. And so these guys are talking trash. As we're rushing back, I got killed. Everyone jumped off the ship and turned those things in, and these guys are like, meet us at the raid. We'll settle this at the raid. And I'm talking to this crew and like, well, I can't do this. I can't go to this skull raid. I can't do this right now. I got to go to bed. And they're like, no, dude, we need you. I was like, all right, well, fine. You guys are going. I'll go too. So we go to the island and we're there before they are. And we start doing the waves of skeletons. We start attacking them. And we're taking out these waves. And finally, we see these guys coming up on the horizon. Boom, 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 back and forth. They sink our ship. But we spawn at the outpost where we can actually see their ship. We know where they're at. I mean, the raid is right there. So we hop in the ship, go over there, boom, 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 battle. We sink their ship. So we go back in, start taking out waves of skeletons. They come back, and it's just back and forth. They're sinking our ships. Everyone wants the loot key so they can get into the cave. So they show up, kill each other. We all take out a wave. Finally, we battle these guys. We sink their ship, and we go in, and we actually beat the waves. We beat the boss. So you get a key that from the boss that'll unlock this loot cave. But as we're grabbing the key, they're like, crap, they're back. And so we run to the ship. The guy with the key hides the key on the island. I don't know how you can do that, but he hides the key on the island, and then he swims to these rocks off the way. And we're battling, and we get sunk. And so we come back again. Our guy is hiding on the rocks off the island. He's got the key hidden, and these guys won't leave. They won't accept the fact that we beat them. These guys won't leave. So we're like, oh, my God. So we're sailing around. We tried using the proximity chat. We tell the guy that's on the island, goes, all right, guys, pick me up. Go, 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 go. And so we take off, and they do start to follow us. But then I think somebody saw the mermaid that was sitting back in the water because we had left the guy. And so the mermaid shop, so they went back. Dude, they sat at the island for about an hour and a half waiting for us to come back to get the key. They didn't want to leave. So we're like, for Pete's sake. So we were sailing around. We're grabbing up as much ammo as we can, cannonballs, planks, because we had been doing battle. We didn't have anything. So we start to make our way back to pick our guy up, and the damn Kraken gets us. The Kraken shows up. We're like, oh my God, we just want to get our guy and go to bed. So we're battling the Kraken. We beat the Kraken, which was awesome. So we beat the Kraken. So we're like, all right, we just wasted all the cannonballs. So we had to go to another outpost, pick up more ammo. We're like, we got to get these guys. So we go back to the island. They're there waiting or the guy is like, all right, I'm going to jump off the rocks and come pick me up. So we pick him up, and we're sailing around. We start battling these guys. The key is still sitting on the island. It's hidden. And so we're battling these guys. We sink their ship. We're like, okay, this is our chance. This is our only chance. So we quick run in. We go back to the island, get the key, open up the loot cave. We grab the three most like important chests. Like there's the actual stronghold chest and like a gold chest, and there was like a real cool skull. So we're like, all right, just grab these 3 things. Let's get the hell out of here. So we leave. These guys start showing up again. We take off. They go back to the island, okay? And they're grabbing all the other loot. We go back to the island, the outpost, turn in our stuff, and like, all right, we got the best stuff. That's all we need. And all of a sudden, one person goes, dude, they're over there. They're leaving right now. We can go get their ship. And I'm like, really? And they're like, dude, they got all the loot. They're heading for the other outpost. So we take off. We intercept them. We get out in front of them. And just before they get to the outpost, we sink their ship. And then we go get the loot that they got from the loot. We went and turned that in. It was seriously 6 hours. I didn't go to bed till 6 o'clock, but it was totally worth it. It was rough. It was really rough the next day. But seriously, 5 hours of just crazy stuff. And that is one of the strong things about Sea of Thieves. It plays into the narrative where it's pushed that, you create your own adventures. And that was really, really fun, playing with 3 random people I'd never met before. We had this epic tale to share with other people that just happened for us. And that's one of the strengths of Sea of Thieves. I mean, yes, the missions are still very shallow. They're the same basic missions all every time you go that are more difficult, or maybe you get more islands you got to go to. But it was really just a lot of fun, and that's one of the best nights I've had with Sea of Thieves. But, man, the next day was brutal because, obviously, I went to bed at 6:30, and my kids were up at 7:30. So that's basically how my Saturday went, but very, very cool stuff. I'm sorry that was a long story, but it was totally epic when we actually sank their ship at the end and got all the loot, all the chests that they grabbed from the island after we had left. And I remember the last thing we heard, because when we sank their ship, one of them had jumped off and killed me. They were on the death ship, and the guy was like, we only play this for the PvP, bro. And I was like, that's like, no, you don't. You were sitting at that island waiting for the loot chest for an hour and a half, and we beat you, and we outsmarted you, and then we got the best like karma comeback ever. And they're like, we just play for the PvP. No, you don't. So it was very rewarding to knock those guys off. So a lot of Sea of Thieves. So anyways, that's what we've been playing. Let's get to these new releases. Let's talk about the spotlight titles. Frankie, what's coming out this week?
All right. Well, before we get into those really quick, obviously we're in April. Didn't do a show last week. We have the Games with Gold and PlayStation Plus titles for April, so I'm going to run through those really quick. Starting with the Games with Gold lineup. So Xbox One owners look forward to The Witness. That's available right now until the 30th. And then Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which in my humble opinion is the best Assassin's Creed game besides 2. That'll be available from April 16th until May 15th. On the 360, which of course these are backwards compatible, we have Cars 2, the video game. That's available right now until the 15th. And Dead Space 2 from April 16th through the 30th. Real quick around the horn. Brent, what do you think of this lineup, man?
I like this one. The Witness is a great game. Very, very challenging puzzle game. That's awesome. Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I've played that one. I think that's a very good game. No interest in Cars 2, but Dead Space 2 in there, I think that's pretty sweet because I really like the Dead Space games. And I thought Dead Space 2 was actually pretty good. So I think that's a nice, strong lineup right there.
Yeah. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, I agree with Brent. Strong lineup. Obviously, The Witness, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. These are 2 very well received games. No interest in Cars 2 or Dead Space 2 really. I know Dead Space 2 is a cool game, but not really interested in the older titles at this current stage. But The Witness and Assassin's Creed are more than make up for are more than worth the price of admission this month for Games with Gold.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Bender?
Yeah, I agree with the guys. I think it's a pretty solid lineup for Games with Gold. The Witness is a cool game from what I played of it. I mean, I played a little bit on when it came out on PS4. I might not have to give it another chance though, because I kind of fell off of it and I was like, I got stuck somewhere and I didn't know what to do, so I just stopped playing. So I might need to give it another shot. But yeah, it seems like a good list.
Cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this Assassin's Creed Syndicate, especially. I almost, snagged that in the spring sale. Glad I didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
That's my luck. So, all right. So onto the PlayStation list really quick. It's another really great month. Starting with one of my underrated, favorite games of this generation, Mad Max. It's on the PS4 now. So if you're a fan of Twisted Metal, Batman, Arkham Combat, Just Cause type exploration, totally check that game out. It's awesome. Trackmania Turbo, another excellent racing title that's also playable in VR, so kind of get a little freebie there for PSVR owners. For the PlayStation 3, In Space We Brawl, which is a cross-buy title with the PS4 as well, so PS3 and PS4. I think that's one of those party, kind of tower fall-like games. Toy Home is another one for the PlayStation 3. 99 Vitas on the Vita. That one's actually cross-buy with PS3 and PS4. Very meta. I'm actually curious about that game. It looks pretty cool. It's like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, so looks like a lot of fun. And Qbert Rebooted, also for the Vita, but that is also cross-buy with the PS3 and PS4. So PS3 and PS4 owners getting quite a few games this month. Again, quick around the horn. Bender, I want to start with you. What do you think of this lineup?
Seems like a solid lineup on this end too. I didn't play. I haven't played it. I haven't played any of these actually, but seems good. Well, actually, I think I may have tried Trackmania Turbo because I think it was it a PS Plus?
There was
game in the
beta.
past?
They had an open beta when it was coming out.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
That's sort of what I was trying to think. I was like, wasn't this a Plus game or it's the beta I was thinking about?
Yeah. So I'm be willing to check that out. I might even check out Mad Max, just see what it's all about. But it seems like a pretty good list.
Brent?
Yeah, I think this is a decent looking list, man. I've always wanted to play. I actually never played Mad Max, so the fact that that's there, I'm going to download that. Definitely going to download Trackmania Turbo, and I might actually add Qbert Rebooted to my Vita, man. I think that'd be a nice little place to play that.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, this is definitely a cool lineup here for PS Plus as well. I love that, over the last few months we've started to get these like AAA releases into the PS Plus lineup that continues here with the month of April. Mad Max actually has quite the cult following at this point on the PS4 and the Xbox One with this title. So definitely looking forward to playing that one at some point. Always heard great things about Trackmania Turbo. I know people love that title. And just, when you break everything down, you get 5 titles for the PS4 this month with all the cross-buy stuff that's going on. That's awesome, man. So, this is a great lineup.
Yeah. Very, very excellent lineup. Please, all of you listening, go try out Mad Max. That game seriously is excellent in my opinion. All right, so on to the Spyro releases for this week, guys. So we didn't do a show last week, but there were a couple things that came out last week that I felt were definitely worth noting. The first one being Terra. Now, Brent, I know you messed around with this as like a free-to-play MMORPG that's much more skill-based than, a lot of your typical, MMOs, I guess. But, why don't you talk to us about this? I know you're pretty high on this game.
Yeah, I was really interested in it. I checked out the beta. It had some technical issues. It still does, but it's a free-to-play MMO. The combat is unlike other MMOs that I played. It's more action RPG. Like, you actually have to dodge enemy attacks. The enemy just doesn't kind of sit there and just swing about, and it's always going to make contact. Like, you can actually legitimately dodge the attacks. It'll show where they're going to attack. There's more action RPG elements to it in terms of the combat. It's a pretty interesting story, but again, it's free to play. I don't think I haven't played it enough to know to see if it even can compete with something like ESO or even Final Fantasy 14 A Realm Reborn. But for a free to play title, I think it's a very good game. The combat feels really, really good. There's a lot of different class types. You rank up your character. There's all sorts of different attacks and other kind of abilities that you can use, and it's cool because it'll explain to you how you can chain these abilities to do extra damage. And the one thing that's always difficult about these games is these attacks can be quite elaborate, so you got to try to remember which ones do. But I like this one because, say if I use one attack and then there's a chain connected to it, the prompt will show up right on my screen. Hit this button next to continue the chain. So you can kind of do the chains right there through the game. So it's a little bit easier than having to try to remember everything, because when it comes to an MMO, there are so many different abilities and there's so many different attacks you can use. It's hard to remember, for myself anyways, to remember how to chain certain attacks. So the fact that pops up makes the combat pretty enjoyable. And then I actually did my first raid my first dungeon with 5 people the other night. Really enjoyed that. I thought it was really fun. The bosses, some of these creatures you battle are very, very big. They're very intimidating, and they all have cool attacks that you have to be prepared for. And there's ways to dodge, and there's ways to work with other people to do damage. But for a free to play title, I definitely recommend for fans of MMOs, give it a look. It's actually pretty good. There are some technical issues. It stutters at times. There's some long lows here and there, but for the most part, a pretty enjoyable experience.
Cool. Bender, I know you typically dabble in some of these games too. Do you have any interest in this one?
Yeah, I do now. This is actually the first I'm hearing of it, but I enjoy MMOs, so, and free to play games are good. So I'm always willing to try a game, at least if it's free to play. There have been some pretty good free to play MMOs before, like Neverwinter and stuff like that. And some not so good ones like Star Trek Online, but But I'm always willing to check out a free to play MMO, so I'll check this one out for sure.
Yeah, I never heard of it either, Bender. And this thing has been on PC since 2011. There's been this has been out on PC for quite some time, and it's now just coming over to consoles. And I still had never heard of it, but free to play title. There are some founder packs you can buy that was able to get you early access for a week. But for the most part, you can just hop in free to play and just try it out, man. If you're a fan of MMOs, it's worth a look for free to play.
Sweet.
How about you, Ben? Do you have any interest in checking this out?
I mean, I like MMOs, from my time with Final Fantasy 11, Final Fantasy 14, DC Universe. I like this style of game. There's just no way I could ever commit any kind of reasonable amount of time to this game, for it to be worth my time. So at this point, Terra, it's just not something I'm gonna be able to play. It looks like a cool game, looks like it could be fun, but I just don't have the time to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the boat I'm into, but that is available now on PS4 and Xbox One. And one of the other things that we missed last week was the free VR update for Wipeout the Omega Collection. Brent, I know you actually did a exploring VR video on this, so obviously you can get most of his thoughts there. But just really quickly, what'd you think of this? Is this a cool free update?
Yes, very cool. And I thought for sure I was gonna throw up all over myself jumping into this game in VR, because obviously Wipeout is a very fast-paced racer, but man, it is implemented so well in VR. When I first fired it up, there's a moment to adjust to it. It's like I said, it's very fast, but the thing that I like about it is when you're in the cockpit, it actually kind of puts a roof over your head and around the side, so it kind of, you don't feel so open out in space where you're kind of moving around. You actually feel like you're in a cockpit. I think it helps with the sensation to kind of keep you from hurling. So, but the sense of speed is fantastic. It's really, really fun to play. I had some issues during the stream where my headset would cut out and the screen would go black, and then it would come back on mid-race. And obviously in a game like this, you can't have that happening. And, somebody else actually commented on the video, said it's happening to them as well. So I was kind of worried maybe it was my headset was acting up, but it sounds like it might be something with the game. This should be an easy fix. But I mean, it only happened, I think, three times during the video, but it was enough to where when you're racing at that speed, you really can't have the thing cutting out for 2 or 3 seconds. And that was kind of annoying. But for the most part, for a VR experience in a game like Wipeout, and have it run so smooth with little to no effects on me negatively in terms of motion sickness, speaks volumes about how well this was implemented. It is a really, really good game in VR.
Awesome. Yeah, like I said, that's a free update. So if you have the Wipeout Omega Collection, you can download that, check that out now. So on to the games coming out this week. I'm actually going to switch some of these around here because I have them in different order. But sticking with VR, Bender, Rick and Morty, Virtual Reality out on Tuesday for PSVR. I don't know, man. What do you think about this game? It just looks like kind of goofy Rick and Morty shenanigans in the VR headset. You picking this up?
Yeah, I'm definitely picking this up. I've been waiting for this one to come out ever since I heard it announced. Love Rick and Morty. I love Justin Roiland's and Dan Harmon's humor that they infuse into that show. So yeah, I think it'll be really fun to strap on a headset and get into the Morty shoes and see what kind of shenanigans we get into. I think it'll be funny. I'm sure it'll be a really humorous game, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. I haven't played my PSVR in quite a while, but this is one I think it'll be worth dusting it off and booting up for this one.
Yeah, for sure. Boys, I know you fired up Accounting Plus, which is also a Justin Roiland joint. Where you at with Virtual Reality?
Yeah, dude, I loved Accounting Plus. I thought that was such a cool game. Thought it was a really, really well done VR title when I played it earlier this year. So if Rick and Morty Virtual Reality is anything like Accounting Plus, or the VR has been implemented in any way, shape, or form similarly to the way they did it in Accounting Plus, then I think this is definitely gonna be worth our time here. So yeah, I'm very, very interested in this title to see how it turns out. So I do want to fire this up at some point.
Yeah. Did you get the collector's edition? Either of you?
I was just looking at this and I was like, did I order that or not? I guess I'll find out soon.
I believe I did.
Yeah.
seems like something I would do, but I'm pretty sure I remember ordering the collector's edition.
Yeah, the reason I ask is there's a poster. It's a double-sided poster, but one of the images on the poster is like The Last of Us, but Rick and Morty. So I was
Nice.
like, dude, Ben's definitely picking this thing up.
Yeah, I need to go
Yeah.
through my Amazon orders, make sure that I scooped that. Then I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. How about you, Brent? Are you a fan of Rick and Morty, Brent? Is this something that you would get into?
Actually, I heard you guys talking about this so much, and Bender told me a couple of episodes that he really enjoyed. So I actually downloaded a couple of the first season just to kind of get familiar with it. And I watched the first 2 episodes. I actually thought it was pretty funny. I don't know if I'll pick this up. I'll wait to hear what you guys say first before I put in for it, because there's just I'm trying to get this backlog. I'm not even worried about 2017. I'm trying to clean up the backlog. I started with 2018 titles. Not looking to add anything this week, but I will definitely keep an eye on this and get you guys' thoughts on it.
Awesome. So moving on, this title actually was supposed to come out on the PS4 and Xbox One a long time ago alongside the Switch version. It didn't. We had no idea when it was coming out. And now, of course, since, as if it wasn't already difficult to settle an indie spotlight game, Owlboy finally coming to PS4 and Xbox One this week. Boyce, I know this is one that has been on your radar for a long time now.
Mhm.
Dude, how sad were you to see that this is the week they chose to bring out this version of the game?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. It was like last week we didn't have or not last week, but the week before last, we were literally had no games to feature on the indie spotlight, so I had to play an old title. So that would have been a perfect week for Owlboy to finally make its appearance on PS4 and Xbox One. But lo and behold, it picks a week that Super Daryl Deluxe is coming out, which is another really, really great looking video game. So yeah, Owlboy finally arrives this Tuesday for the PS4 and Xbox One. I've been looking forward to this game for a really long time. I love the Metroidvania genre, as you guys know, and I've always heard great things about this one, about its tumultuous development cycle and its eventual victorious, coming out on top as it finally released after all those years to quite the critical acclaim. So I'm very, very much looking forward to this. We will feature this on the Tuesday Night Indie Spotlight this week, 10 p.m. Eastern. We're firing up the PS4 versions. So I can finally see what Owlboy is all about, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. There's a physical version coming out on May 29th, which is a stupidly busy day, but that's probably when I'm going to pick that up.
Mm-hmm.
Bender, you played this on the Switch, right?
I played it, yeah, for a little bit, not a whole lot.
Just didn't get into it, or Monster Hunter?
Monster Hunter mostly, yeah. I do want to get back to Owlboy. It seems cool from what I played. Very unique game, cool art style, great music. So, and the story seemed intriguing. So I do want to get back to it, but Monster Hunter and Xenoblade, trying to get through Xenoblade right now.
Yeah, that's totally fair. So, as Ben alluded to, there, of course, is another game coming out based on Brent's years in high school called Super Daryl Deluxe. This one also on Tuesday, coming out on PS4 and Switch. So, Ben will, of course, be streaming Owlboy at the Indie Spotlight. So, whenever I get home from work, hopefully around 11:15, I'm actually going to fire up Super Daryl Deluxe because this game looks awesome. So, this is like an RPG Metroidvania. Daryl looks like a goofball. He kind of frolics around, has some pretty cool powers, abilities, all kinds of goofy looking stuff. Theme song for this game is fantastic. Highly recommend going to listen to that on YouTube. But Brent, what do you think of this one? This game, this looks like something right up your alley too.
Yeah, this is a game I've been watching since Boyce has been talking about it, and it looks hilarious. Like, this looks like a game I would love to play. And this if I do pick this up, this is going to be on the Switch, just because it seems like it'd be an ideal spot for me to play it at this point. Like I said, I've got so many other titles I'm trying to play on the PS4 and Xbox One. This seems like this would be a better bet on the Switch, where I can play it on my breaks and lunches at work, get it in piecemeal here and there. So I'm definitely going to watch the Spotlight to see how this is. Like I said, I'm trying not to buy too many games right now since I have so much to do. Mm-hmm. But this is another one I'm gonna watch closely on the Spotlight.
Yeah. How about you, Bender? Does this look like something you'd get into?
Yeah, definitely. I watched the trailer for this game and I just cracked up. I love the art style. I mean, I like the Daryl looks kind of like a Napoleon Dynamite type character.
Yep.
I love the way he walks. I love the music. Everything just looked really funny and unique about this game. So yeah, it seems like the type of game I would want to definitely check out.
Yeah, boys, I know this is another one. This was definitely the poster child of the Indie Spotlight this week until we finally got that Owlboy date. But I take it you're picking up Daryl.
Yeah, definitely, man. I had to stick to my guns with Owlboy. I said I was gonna play that game when it finally came out, so it just happened to be this week, unfortunately. But yeah, Daryl Deluxe looks like a me game through and through. I mean, this looks like something right up my alley, something that I would play. Love the art style, love the Metroidvania elements, love the kooky style and the crazy moves that Daryl has at his disposal. Just this wild story about this crazy high school that he's a part of. So yeah, I can't wait for this game. Ever since I first saw it a few months ago, I was like, yes, this is a game that I will be buying and I will be playing at some point. So so after we finish up with Owlboy at 10 p.m., Frankie will hop in with Super Daryl Deluxe. I'll hop in the chat with you too while you're playing the game and watch you play along. So we'll have the old Indie Spotlight doubleheader making his triumphant return this week with Owlboy and Super Daryl Deluxe, which should be a fantastic 1-2 combo this week. I'm really looking forward to this Tuesday.
Yeah, I can't wait to play this game. It's going to be a blast. So the last title I want to spotlight this week, this one coming from one of my favorite developers in Iron Galaxy. They, of course, responsible for Dive Kick. I believe they've also handled a lot of the Marvel vs. Capcom, like the ports. So, they're, of course, Killer Instinct as well. But their first kind of big, like, third-person action game, Extinction, will be launching on Tuesday on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So I don't know, Bender, correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of almost get like a little bit of like a Shadow of the Colossus type of vibe from this. You're going around trying to save humanity. You're fighting and taking down all these massive ogres. Have you taken a look at any of the gameplay for this one?
Haven't seen any gameplay for it yet, but I think I saw a trailer, and it does have a kind of a Shadow of the Colossus type of vibe, but which is always appealing to me,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, seems pretty cool.
Yeah. How about you, Ben? Have you have any interest in this one? This one looks like something you'd get into as well.
Yeah, I actually think, and I know a lot of people that have made this comparison, but I feel like Attack on Titan is a good analog for Extinction, which is obviously a very popular anime series, about these giants that are attacking the city and whatnot. And I've seen Iron Galaxy talking about this, how they understand the comparisons, but their game is actually very different in the kind of the lore and the world that they've created. But yeah, when it comes down to it, you're like a soldier battling a giant. It's very much got that Attack on Titan type of vibe. I've always thought that this game looked really cool ever since it was first unveiled. It was at E3 last year. First time we saw Extinction. I watched some gameplay of it, which I thought looked really cool. There's different tactics you're gonna have to use to take down these giants. They said that the minimum size of these things is 150 feet tall. So these are like these are giant dudes that you're trying to take down. So I've always loved the whole like David and Goliath concept, and the concept of this smaller guy trying to take down this big dude that's terrorizing the city or whatnot. So I definitely get behind the whole vibe of this game and the whole story and the whole thing that they're going for. So I do want to play it at some point. I'm trying to not get into anything before God of War, though. I don't want to try to take on something that I'm not going to be able to play, which
Smart.
is what's disappointing me about Far Cry. Like, I really wanted to play Far Cry when it came out, but I've been so busy with work and with stuff at home that I've not been able to play Far Cry at all. And now we're at the point now where it's April 8th as we're recording this. We're 12 days away from God of War. I'm not gonna have time to play Far Cry now, so I don't even want to start that. So it's just like this vicious cycle that you kind of get stuck in. So I'm gonna try to just stick to some of the biggest of the big releases for the rest of the year here as I try and make a manageable workload for myself in terms of gaming. So as much as I would love to play Extinction this week, it's just not in the cards.
Gotcha. Now, Brent, I know you're a big fan of, especially games like this where you're kind of strategically trying to take down these monsters, dodge attacks, expose their weak points, hack off their limbs. Like, where are you at with this one? This, again, looks like something right up your alley as well.
Dude, this is right up my alley. and it just pisses me off for every single reason that Boyce just listed. I want to play this game. I think this game looks really, really good. I might even pull the trigger on it. In fact, I can almost guarantee I probably will pull the trigger on it. But the fact is, I'm just not going to start it this week. There's no way I'm starting it this week. I am focused on Far Cry 5. I'm focused on playing some more of these other games that I've started. I want to try to wrap up a few things, but it is a game I'm going to watch very closely. I'm sure I will pick it up because, like you mentioned, there's a lot of elements here that I really dig and I think are really appealing. It's just there's no room for it right now.
If you pre-ordered at Best Buy, there's a $10 gift card you get with it. So.
I will probably do that tomorrow now that you mentioned it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Cool. But yeah, that's going to do it for the Spotlight releases for this week. I don't know what we're going to do with the rest of the new releases, but a lot of great stuff coming out this week, of course. Hellblade will be out on Wednesday on Xbox. Ys Origin, Don't Starve's hitting the Switch. There's a lot of great games coming out. So, but yeah, that's all I got for our Spotlight stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, Frankie. Really, really appreciate it. We got some music here from Ruel Ethan. We're going to play that, and then we're going to come back. We got some big, big news to discuss. We'll be right back. And welcome back. Thanks again to Ruel Ethan for producing the music for this podcast. He does the opening, the closing, the music you heard right there. Follow him on Twitter at Ruel Ethan. Check out his music on iTunes and SoundCloud. Gentlemen, let's get into the news. And there was some big news this week. We now finally have a release date for Spider-Man on PlayStation 4.
Got canceled.
It is dropping. And it is a little bit later than we thought it would be. It is coming out September 7th. The start of the fall rush of games will be Spider-Man. We all kind of lost our when the announcement came out. We were really excited. I mean, Game Informer had they announced that it was their cover story, and then it was just all week, just information, videos, details. We saw a collector's edition. We'll talk about that first. But overall, you guys, September 7th, let's talk about that date. Frankie, I want to start with you. September 7th, Spider-Man. Good spot for it?
Yeah, right after my week off, of course. This happens to me every freaking year. But yeah, no, I think that's a great day. It's a Friday. Big fan of Friday releases. I have another option day that I can burn still, so that's looking like a great day to get paid not to be at work. So good time.
I dig it. I think you're right. I think I would definitely try to get that day off too. In fact, I'm going to work really hard on that. Bender, your thought on the September 7th launch?
Very, very excited to finally have a release date for this game. We've been looking forward to it. Can't wait to play it. I'm super psyched that it's on a Friday. We can jump right into the weekend with Spider-Man that weekend. It's going to be great. Yeah, I just, words can't express how excited I am. Can't wait to play this game. I want it in my hands.
Boyce, I want to come to you now. Now, this is interesting because you have a reputation among the Short Pause folks here, and we won't get into it. I know you're really excited for Spider-Man. But here's the dilemma that I foresee, and I'm sure this is exactly what's going to happen, too. What are you going to do when Spider-Man comes out on September 7th and Destiny 2 has just launched its big fall expansion the Tuesday before that, a couple days earlier? Where are you going to be, dude? Are you going to be Destiny 2, the big expansion that you're really looking forward to, and then Spider-Man? What's going to happen that same week when both those things come out, dude? What happens? Where are you going to be?
On September 7th, I will be in New York City with Peter Parker. I will be playing Spider-Man. Yeah, I mean, seriously, like Bender said, there's really like no words. You stop shaking your head, Frankie. there's really like no words to describe the excitement that I have for Spider-Man right now. I mean, this game literally looks like all of my dreams in a video game are like being realized in this game right here. So that's the thing. I mean, September is looking ridiculous in terms of like releases. Spider-Man's getting out in front of all of them. More than likely, we're going to get another Destiny expansion right around this time. It's probably going to be a huge one. It's probably going to be sucking up my time prior to this game. But I'll be damned if I don't play Spider-Man. And if I'm not playing it on September 7th, I will quit this website. I will hand in my resignation papers. I'll be like, I'm done with this. I'm just gonna go sail off into the sunset. On September 7th, I will be playing Spider-Man on the PS4. I'll be playing the hell out of this game. I seriously cannot wait to get my hands on this title. Just watching some of the videos that have been released, learning about what's going on with the game. I mean, man, this game looks f***ing awesome. Like I'm just beyond hyped to play Spider-Man when it finally releases. Insomniac looks like they just have knocked this thing out of the park. I mean, this has the potential to be like my favorite game that I've ever played. Like, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero in the Marvel universe. I grew up reading these books, so to see a game that like takes him to like the Arkham level is just incredibly exciting. I'm just pumped that we got a date, man. I am September 7th is circled on my calendar. It's highlighted. There's like big sunbursts around it. Anything you could put on that date, it's on there. You stop rubbing your head, goddammit. All right?
I'm just saying.
I'm going to play this game.
Okay. I'm just saying, every time you pay this game a compliment, I feel like that's like an extra particle of dust that's going to sit on the box as it's on your shelf. I'm looking back in the annals of history and thinking of these other games. And every time you paid this game a compliment, I feel like that's one more nail in its coffin. But I am going to hold you to it. I really, really hope this means you'll play the game. Frankie looks like he's just entertained.
I don't know what we're going to do after September 7th when Boyce leaves. Like,
I know.
I don't know who's going to edit our articles.
I'll
who's
take
going
care
to
of
put
that.
together the outline.
I'll take care of the editing.
Oh boy.
The site's just going to crumble when he has to leave.
No,
I also feel like if you go back to older podcasts, this literal same exact thing
yeah.
with Final Fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
maybe Infamous, I don't remember, probably.
It was.
I feel like I've literally heard this exact spiel before.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie the first time you see it, but once you get to the third entry and it's just a tried and true formula that just runs its course, it gets predictable. We know what's going to happen on September 7th. We're going to hear something about something, and I'm going to get to it. And then September 15th will roll around. He's going to be like, well, I haven't gotten it to you yet, but I'm going to get to it next week. And then it's going to be, 2 months later, I'm a fraud. It's just, I know it's going to happen. I've seen this movie before. But, Boyce, I can't wait for you to play, dude. I'm sure you'll love it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Look, I know I've dropped the ball on playing games in the past, but I can't let that happen with Spider-Man. I just can't let it happen. It doesn't matter what happens in my life or what happens in terms of anything. Like, I have to play this game. I'd have to. There's like a burning desire inside of me to play this game. So by hook or by crook, I will be playing this game on September 7th, and my past fallacies be damned. I'm gonna be playing Spider-Man.
I don't think so. Remember when he bought the Final Fantasy 15 Collector's Edition and he said, "I spent $400 on this game. There's no way I'm not going to play it."
I remember that. Yeah. My wallet remembers that.
15.
In fact, Noctis is sitting right over there.
If I didn't watch this podcast, if I didn't know you guys, I'd be like, man, Boyce is a very passionate guy. But since I do know Boyce, these are just words. These are just words, and it's actions speak louder than words. So we'll see what happens on September 7th.
What if we make him stream it?
Yeah, there's your indie spotlight.
Yeah, what if we have to hold him to streaming it? Yeah. I mean, Insomniac is independent, man.
Yeah, they are kind of. Yeah, they are. So
technically independent. So Friday night indie spotlight.
There you go. It doesn't have to be an indie spot. Just make the dude stream the damn game. Just make him play the game.
That's
all we need to do.
Job. You have to play it.
All right. Enough razzing, boys. As much fun.
I'll be playing the game.
Okay, sure you will. All right. So let's talk about the collector's edition first and foremost. We got to see a collector's edition. This runs you $149.99. This includes a Spider-Man statue created by Gentle Giant. Though if you notice, it looks like part of the statue's covered up. And Insomniac is not going to reveal what that is until later this summer. So, boys, any idea why you think they would cover that? Like, what could that be underneath that? Why don't they want to show that?
Well, they've said that they've covered it up because it's quote unquote spoilery. So I don't know what they could spoil in the game in terms of like the statue. I would hope that there would not be like a major plot element that they would spoil in the statue for the game that you're obviously going to see when you open up the collector's edition. So my guess is that it's some type of a villain maybe they haven't revealed yet as being a part of the game. Maybe Venom's under there. Maybe they want to keep the lid on him being like a part of the game until sometime this summer. I don't really know. Maybe there's some type of a E3 reveal they're planning based around this, and once they finally unveil that, they're going to show us what's in the bottom part of that statue. But yeah, he's like perched on top of something. So
right.
That's, I don't know. It's strange. Maybe Miles Morales is on the bottom of it. Maybe it's like a mirror image of him on the other side. I don't know. I'm not sure what could be under there. It's weird. I've never seen anybody hide the statue to a collector's edition prior to the game coming out. So very, very curious about what's beneath that, beneath Spidey there.
Wouldn't that be fun if they were just like, it's just not finished yet. We don't know what the hell to put underneath them. We don't know what it's going to be. But this is also going to come with a steelbook case, a mini art book by Titan Books, and some DLC. If you pre-order any of the versions of note, you'll receive a Spidey suit pack featuring the goofy Spider-Punk look, a PSN avatar, and an original PS4 theme by Adi Granov. You'll also get a slight leg up on your leveling with some extra skill points. But overall thoughts on this collector's edition, Frankie? Did you pre-order this?
Sure did.
You know it. What are your thoughts on the actual collector's edition?
I'm a big fan of it. We're getting the digital deluxe, the season pass, if you will, with this, which I appreciate collector's editions that do that. For what we see of the statue, Spider-Man looks pretty sweet on there. Boys, I forgot about this until you mentioned it, but when Arkham Knight was coming out, the statue for that you could look at that as a spoiler for the end of the game. So, because I think it's like in memory of, the Arkham Knight. Or something on there that kind of hints at, something might happen to him. So
I don't remember that, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't think they're gonna, kill Spider-Man, but
yeah.
But no, I Gamers Club Unlocked came through, $119.99.
Yes.
So got that on lockdown. Gonna go pick that up and enjoy my day off work.
Yes, you will. Bender, your thoughts on the collector's edition?
I think it looks pretty sweet. I'm also definitely gonna be picking mine up once it comes out. But yeah, I'm super psyched. I can't wait to see what the rest of that statue looks like, and I like a good collector's edition, especially for a game that I know I'm gonna love.
It's gonna be an expensive day for you.
Well, I was just gonna ask him now. What happens, Bender? Now you've got the collector's edition pre-ordered, right? You got that locked up, 119 through Best Buy Gamer Club unlocked. But what happens when they announce at some point the PS4 Pro bundle for Spider-Man? Are you going to keep both? Or are you going to cancel one? Or are you just going to say, I don't need the PS4 Pro, I'm just going to stick with the collector? What are you going to do when that day? You know it's coming. You know it's coming. What happens when that happens?
That's a good looking question. I'll probably go with the PS4 Pro. And then, I don't know, maybe I will keep both. I mean, the PS4 Pro isn't going to come with a sweet statue.
That's true.
So I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough decision.
You could
also, Bender, you could sell the copy of the game you get with the PS4 Pro. It might even be a digital copy. You could just put it on eBay and pawn it off to somebody. You wouldn't even have to ship it, and you just send them the code when it's all said and done. But you have that option as well.
True. That's a good point.
Ben, your thoughts on the collector's edition?
Yeah, looks awesome, man. I'm obviously a big fan of collector's editions. I spend way too much money on them and don't use them. So I love the way this looks. Love the top half of the Spider-Man statue. That's what I really like in the collector's editions, is to get a nice statue. So to see, at least half of this thing looks really sweet. I imagine the bottom half's gonna look good as well. So that's really what I'm concerned about, getting that statue in there. So I'm pumped for it.
And other than the collector's edition and the base model of the game, you can also order the digital deluxe version. This comes in at $79.99. It contains a copy of the game, obviously, and the DLC that is a part of Insomniac's The City That Never Sleeps program, a plan that will bring new missions, villains, characters, and suits. So that'll be available through the digital deluxe version. So now we got those out of the way. We got to see the collector's edition. Game Informer then came out a day or two later with a video of actual web slinging. Now, we saw some GIFs earlier in the week of it in action. We're like, okay, that looks cool, but we want to see video. And my gosh, when they brought this video out, pants got tight. Like, it was really rough. But Ben, I wanted to come to you first with the web slinging. What did you think of this video? What's your take on what you saw so far?
Yeah, I changed my shorts several times over the course of this video. Yeah, I mean, Insomniac talks about in the Game Informer story here that the one thing that they knew they had to get right with Spider-Man was the web swinging.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've seen in the video and from what I've read about how it controls, it sounds like they got it right. One of the things that I really like that they talked about is keeping the mobility of Spider-Man alive. So, it used to be a game design thing in the past, like when you would hit a wall and you'd have to, maneuver around there or whatever. But the way that Insomniac designed their Spider-Man game is that when you're web swinging around, if you happen to run into a building or run into something, like Spider-Man keeps going. He either runs up the side of the building, runs along the side of it, goes around the corner, like whatever it is, you're constantly in locomotion with your character. And the other thing I like that I've read about it is that you have basically like full autonomy over your character. There's a lot that goes into controlling Spider-Man. This is not simply like an on rails experience. Like, you are web swinging, you're finding points where you can web. There's different techniques you can use in terms of the swing pendulum that they were talking about. It's like the physics of the swing. The release point when you release your web determines like how fast you go. So there's all these like cool nuances that go in. I mean, it's literally like you're going to be Spider-Man, thinking about how you're swinging from point A to point B and the best way to get across that. It looks incredibly fast. Like the different techniques you can do, like the diving to gain momentum and like the web shooting, the slingshot thing. It just all looks really, really awesome. And that's one of like the biggest fantasies about being Spider-Man is swinging through the skyline and doing all the cool acrobatic stuff that he does. And from what I've seen here, it looks like they've absolutely knocked it out of the park with this. It looks incredible, man.
Mm-hmm. Now, Frankie, I know we played a lot of open world games where we played Assassin's Creed. Traversing at high speeds can often lead to chaotic moments in games like that. Talking about what Ben just mentioned, this continuous motion, Spider-Man's always moving. What were your thoughts on that, and what's your thoughts on what you saw in the gameplay overall?
Actually, I didn't watch the gameplay because I just
Oh.
didn't want to do it. I can't
Oh.
do it. I can't bring myself to watch it because I already know I'm buying the game. Already hyped. Don't need to add any more gas to that fire. But hearing what you guys talk about kind of slightly concerns me because actually that's one of the things I didn't like about Sunset Overdrive.
Mhm.
It's like this need to constantly be moving. Like, and granted, you're not going to be shooting at tons of these mutant things or anything with a bunch of crazy weapons or anything. You're going to be focusing on continuously moving in Spider-Man because that's what you're doing.
Mhm.
But it just kind of, like I said, just reminding me of Sunset Overdrive in that aspect was like a quick moment of, oh no,
Mhm.
because I'm not like a huge Sunset Overdrive fan. So the other thing that it was interesting too is I think they mentioned that there's fast travel points.
Right.
So I'm wondering, like either this city is massive and it's going to take you a while to get from one end to the other, but if the swinging is as fun as they're talking it up to be, and obviously from what you guys say it looks really really great, why do you need a fast travel system?
Mm.
That's curious to me. I'm assuming it's because the map is massive, but
Yeah,
It's
oh.
just on that real quick. The map is, I think they said 3 or 4 times as big as the Sunset Overdrive map. So it should be pretty large.
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, and I was wondering that too when they mentioned the fast travel system, and I couldn't help but wonder maybe there's abilities that you unlock for Spider-Man that helps him traverse the city faster. I don't know if maybe you have his entire skill set, but they did mention also in that video though that the reason Spider-Man's always in motion in this game is because his character's been Spider-Man for 8 years now, and they're like he's no longer trying to learn the ropes. He's been Spider-Man for 8 years. He knows how to get around the cities. He's mastered the web slinging. So it's almost like he starts off at at a professional level, but it's still going to take you time to master those controls to get him around the corners and go faster and just kind of keep a momentum going. So I kind of dig that. I was a little worried about that as well, but if it's web slinging is fun, I don't know if I'd even bother with the fast travel system. But you never know how big this city is. You never know if Spider-Man starts off without a lot of these abilities that you unlock as you play. I don't know how any of that works, but yeah, very strange to have a fast travel system in a game where Spider-Man just moves around like a badass. So I don't think I would ever use one. Benner, did you watch the video?
Yeah, it looks really cool. Like Ben was talking about, it's like this really fluid swinging motion, and the way he just like when you go instead of like running into a building and bouncing off, he like runs up the building and just keeps going. It's pretty cool. And to Frankie's point, I don't think it's necessarily that you have to keep moving or anything like that. It's just like when you are moving from point A to point B, you're going to be able to do it quickly and efficiently and stylishly, and it's going to be a lot more fun. As far as the fast travel stuff is concerned, that doesn't really concern me. I think it's good that they put that in there as an option, because I'm sure there are going to be people who want to just blaze through the game and not really worry about the swinging and all that stuff. It's not going to be me. I'm going to be swinging everywhere. But there are going to be people who probably want to just get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, and that's fine. So maybe they just put that in there as an option. But yeah, from everything I've seen and heard from Spider-Man swinging, that was always the best part of Spider-Man games. Even like Spider-Man 2 on the which I played on the Wii. That was like always the best part, just swinging around the city. It was a lot of fun. So I can't wait to do that in this game.
Yeah, it looks like a big, beautiful city too. Like Insomniac has done, a lot of work creating New York City. So there's gonna be a lot of areas to explore, a lot of things to do. But let's talk about some of the other things here. But we're gonna talk about some of the unlockable suits, the leveling up system, and also no microtransactions in this game. Yahoo! But first up, Spider-Man will feature unlockable Spidey suits, which come with distinct abilities, and you won't be able to get them through microtransactions at all. And another thing that's cool, a lot of the stuff that's available from pre-ordering the game, a lot of the suits can be unlocked in game. So if you don't pre-order the game, you'll still be able to unlock them over time. It's just if you pre-order the game, you get them right away. So that's cool too. You don't have to worry about pre-ordering to get stuff. You'll end up getting it no matter what. You got some of the bonuses you'll get with the game though is Spider-Punk. Part of the game's pre-order bonuses. This is a combination of sleeveless denim jacket and spike mohawk that has the strange ability of allowing Peter to pull out a guitar and play a sonic shockwave knockdown attack. Which is wow. Then you have Noir, which is seemingly based on the Spidey spinoff set in 1933. No ability has been shown off for this darker suit as of yet. And then the wrestling suit. This hasn't been formally shown up, but a poster in Peter's apartment shows his getup when facing Crusher Hogan. Game Informer also confirmed that there won't be any transactions for crafting materials or other in-game items. Creative director Brian Intihar had a pretty simple response when asked about the possibility of microtransactions. Hell no, he said. So that's good to hear. No microtransactions in this game. But we've also got some more details we want to talk about. First up, Mr. Negative and Kingpin have already been revealed as villains appearing in Spider-Man. And while it is almost certainly not the extent of the full Rogues Gallery, Game Informer's time with the game hinted at or showed off via gameplay another handful of villains. Shocker is sporting some Iron Man-esque armor, appears as part of a side quest, and the game's introductory sequence, which includes a look at Peter Parker's apartment, hints at Rhino, Scorpion, and Vulture at least having had a presence in New York City thanks to Daily Bugle clip-outs. So, boys, who are Rhino, Scorpion, and Vulture?
They are, some of Spider-Man's classic villains. They've, been involved in the Sinister Six at various points through their career. But Insomniac's mentioned that there's going to be a ton of Spider-Man's villains in this game. Spider-Man has probably the greatest rogues gallery in all of superhero-dom. So there's so many different villains to choose from. We've seen Norman Osborn at a press conference in one of the trailers as well. So he's lurking around. We don't know if he's the Green Goblin in this game or if he's simply Norman Osborn at this point, but he could have a presence. Obviously, Green Goblin is Spider-Man's greatest villain. So that's cool to know that he's lurking around in the scenes. There's a lot of talk if Venom is going to be a part of the game. Obviously, he's one of Spider-Man's biggest enemies as well. So there's so many different ways they could go. Mr. Negative is like a newer villain, so it's cool that they're gonna flesh out this character. I don't know a whole lot about him, so I'm looking forward to playing through the game and getting to learn more about him and know more about him. So, but yeah, just to see the little hints, even if these guys are in the game or not, just to know that these little Easter eggs are peppered around the game and that comic fans are gonna have a lot of stuff to kind of hang their hat on is exciting for me. I get excited about that kind of stuff. So, so that's just awesome, man.
Now, another thing I want to get you guys' thoughts on, I thought this was really interesting, but, Insomniac has obviously gone to great lengths to create New York City, but they're also going to, they've also managed to include some of these buildings that kind of hint at the wider Marvel universe. The Wakanda Embassy, Avengers Tower, and Sanctum Sanctorum are all featured in this game. However, Insomniac would not confirm or deny whether any of those characters would be associated with those buildings would be featured in this game at all. But Frankie, what's your thoughts on the fact that they actually acknowledge these places, these other Marvel characters exist in this game? What's your thoughts on that, man?
I think that's really cool. It kind of, and obviously this is wishful thinking, but maybe kind of lends like, this idea that maybe there's this grander Marvel video game universe, kind of running in parallel to the cinematic universe, which would be pretty cool. I don't know how Marvel would want to do that, but it'd be cool if, Spider-Man's kind of like a small piece of a larger Marvel video game puzzle.
Bender, what do you think about that, dude? That's kind of hot.
Yeah, that would be amazing if they do something like that. I would definitely be down for a Doctor Strange game or a Black Panther game or whatever they want to decide to make. If they put the carrot into it that Insomniac seems to be putting into Spider-Man, it could be a great line of games. So Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Boyce, do you think this is just merely a nod to these other characters, these other stories, or do you think this could be, like Frankie said, maybe could lead to something else?
I mean, it's probably just a nod at the end of the day. I mean, it'd be great if there's this great like video game universe they were putting together, but this is a PlayStation exclusive game, so there's all these like rights issues and things that are going to come into play if they ever try and create this. If they were to create this whole like elaborate video game universe, I'm sure they would want this to be available across all of the platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So to see Spider-Man just being on PlayStation 4 here, obviously they're making the Avengers game, and that's going to be multi-platform. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is a self-contained Spider-Man universe that Insomniac has created. This is their version of the character, and I don't think it's eventually gonna tie into anything else. But
Mm-hmm.
Bender mentioned it there. Just the care that they look like they're putting into this game is just really really awesome to see as a longtime fan of the character, as a longtime fan of comic books. That's the thing that made the Arkham game so great. They just had that just the feel of Batman was just dead on, and that's the feeling that I'm getting from watching the Spider-Man trailers and reading about him and seeing what Insomniac's done with this character. Just looks like they've just nailed Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And in so much that they've brought in the writers of the comic book, Dan Slott, Christos Gage. These are longtime comic book writers. Dan Slott's been writing Amazing Spider-Man for the last 10 years. Like, he's involved in making the story for this game. Uh, Intihar seems like he's intimately just involved in the creation of this game, and he just loves the character of Spider-Man. You can tell like he gets juiced about it every time you see this guy talk about the game. So just to see the passion behind this game is just really really inspiring. It's just one of the many reasons that I'm just super pumped for this game.
Mm-hmm. And we found out like there was a lot of stuff in this Game Informer article all week. They've been releasing stuff. They got more
Hmm.
stuff coming out next week as well.
Yeah.
But there, some of the other things that I took away from this that seems pretty interesting. But there will be, in Spider-Man 2, you were hunting down balloons as some of these extra activities.
Hmm.
But that won't be in this game. But one example of something that'll be here includes Spidey scouring the city for backpacks he had previously webbed up, taking down Kingpin-controlled outposts, stopping random crimes, which can even take you into interiors of buildings, and taking photos of gold cats for Black Cat. And we also found out that Mary Jane Watson is a playable character in this game, and
Hmm.
Initar actually seems quite excited for players to experience her part in the story. This is what he had this to say. Mary Jane is going to surprise a lot of people in this game, a lot of people. Another story note: Initar was adamant you won't be seeing the death of Uncle Ben in Insomniac Spider-Man outing, replying hell no to that as well. So they're kind of doing what Homecoming did. They're not going to like really get into the whole Uncle Ben death, boys. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, that's an integral part of Peter Parker's character.
Yeah, I mean everybody knows that story at this point. Spider-Man is 8 years into his career, so it's not ground that they need to tread over once again. Like, we know, like, Spider-Man's reason for being at this point. He's had several movies that have gone over this. He's been around for a long time. He's a pop culture icon at this point. So everybody knows the history of Spider-Man. It's not necessary to go over that in this game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Couple other things we want to touch on. The first of all, the voice actor. We actually met the voice actor of Spider-Man. His name is Yuri Lowenthal. He's been doing, dude. This guy's been doing video game voiceovers for a long time,
Hmm.
close to 18 years now. And I mean, he has done a lot of stuff. He's been in Fallout 4, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Medal of Honor, a plethora of Halo games. He's also been in, most recently, he was in a Rogue One, a Star Wars story. He was part of the miscellaneous crew. I'm not sure what his role was in that. But he was also the son of Batman in Batman The Dark Knight Returns animated movie part 1. And he also did the voice for Ben Tennyson in Ben 10 Omniverse. But like I said, though, if you go to IMDb and look at this guy's resume, he has done a ton of voices for video games. So a very talented actor will be voicing Peter Parker in this game. And then, boys, lastly, we want to talk a little bit about the post-release DLC that's on the docket for this game.
Yeah, Brent, you alluded to it earlier, but Insomniac has let us know that there's going to be post-release DLC for this game. It sounds like it's a series of 3 different releases. It's going to start with something focused on the Black Cat. And then but yeah, it's like single player, like world building, new missions, new villains, kind of like maybe some of the stuff that they did with the Arkham games, specifically the last DLC, the Season of Infamy that they released for Arkham Knight. It sounds like this is gonna be something along those lines. But exciting to know that once we finish up this game, as awesome as it looks, there's gonna be more to come down the line. So we don't have any like major details about it at this point, but we know that there's extra content coming after the main release.
Well, this was a big week, and there's a lot of good stuff. Head over to Game Informer. Like I said, they've got videos up of Spider-Man swinging around the city. It looks incredible. They got a lot of details, a lot more stuff coming next week. But it's just nice to finally know that this is coming out in 2018. It'll be out in September, on September 7th, Friday. Frankie won't be going to work. Bender won't be going to work. Ben's not going to work. I'm going to go to work because I burned all my vacation time up, but I can't wait to get your guys' thoughts on it. It's going to be a great day. This game looks fantastic. It's going to be a lot of fun. So kudos to Insomniac and PlayStation for getting this out this year. Just another game for PlayStation 4 that's just another big exclusive for Sony coming out. They got a monster year coming up, guys. A monster year. We got God of War next year. We got Detroit Become Human a month after that. And now we know Spider-Man will be out this fall. One more thing I want to ask you guys about this. Frankie, what about these games that are coming out in September? September was a pretty busy month. What games are dying from this launch?
For me, Dragon Quest, Shadow of the Tomb Raider's out the following week. I need to vent for a second because this actually kind of annoys me a little bit.
Vent.
Don't get me wrong. Very excited about God of War. Very excited about Spider-Man. However, in my humble opinion, one of the most underrated PlayStation franchises is Yakuza. So you have Yakuza 6 coming out 3 days before God of War, and now you have Spider-Man launching a week after Kiwami 2. Look, I understand that those crowds probably don't intermingle, but if you're an idiot like myself and going out buying all these games and you're kind of trying not to buy every single game, that sucks.
Well, you're telling me you're not going to play Yakuza over Spider-Man?
I mean, look, I had plans to play the Yakuza games this year. Thank you, Monster Hunter, for ruining that. But also thank you for bringing Kiwami 2 over, because that gave me all right, well, fine. I'll wait until 2's out so I can actually play them all. But it just sucks because I'm looking at when God of War comes out, I have the collector's edition of Yakuza 6 pre-ordered. Who doesn't? Because it looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And, then I have Friday. What am I going to be playing that weekend? God of War. And it's the same with Spider-Man. I'm off the week Kiwami 2 comes out. But because I know Spider-Man's coming out and I want to play all the Yakuza games, I'm not going to start Yakuza. Why would I do that knowing full well I'm going to be playing Spider-Man? So
right.
And Metro's in here somewhere. I have no idea where the hell Metro's coming out. I hope that's not in September. Please, for the love of God, don't release that in September. But it's brutal. It sucks. I feel bad for Yakuza the most, though, because that is just...
Yeah, that is unfortunate. But like you said, those two crowds are kind of different people. And I think Yakuza is still going to get bought by all the people that were looking forward to Yakuza. But no, that is kind of a raw deal for them. But the other thing I want to mention to you or comment on was, when the hell are we going to find out about Metro, dude? Metro's running out of spots to come out, like ideal spots.
Yeah. Ben mentioned that they kind of teased an August date. Early August date. So
August.
If they hit that August 8th, I think it was.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, if they can hit that date, honestly, if it comes out past that, I'm worried I'm not gonna touch it, and that sucks because that's my most anticipated game for this year. So, just this year sucks. It's great, but it sucks.
I mean, how incredible have the last 2 years of video games been? I mean, seriously, 2017 was a ridiculous year for video game releases, and then we come into 2018, and all of these dominoes are falling into place. I mean, we've already had Monster Hunter at the beginning of the year. We're about to get. We just had Far Cry 5. We're about to get God of War. We've got Detroit. We've got a date locked in for Spider-Man. Like you said, that gauntlet there with Dragon Quest, Spider-Man. Assuredly, the new Destiny expansion is going to be in there. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Spyro. They're all coming out one after the other. Then you've got the new Call of Duty, the new Battlefield, Red Dead Redemption, Super Smash Brothers for the Switch is coming out this year as well. So it's just a and you mentioned Metro, and we haven't even gotten to E3 yet. So who knows what else? Who knows what else is going to be on the docket once we get through E3 and publishers start revealing like what's actually coming out in the fall and they start locking in those dates. I mean, it's just a really, really exceptional time to be a video gamer. And, there's going to have to be some choices that are made in terms of what gets played and what doesn't.
This is a Forza Horizon year too, and that's the racing game I have to buy. I love the Horizon series. And if the rumors of that one being set in Japan are true, that'll be a late September, early October release too. So
that's brutal, dude. That's really brutal. I mean, you say it's an exceptional time for gamers. I think it's a pain in the ass. It's a brutal time for gamers, but everyone's going to have their choice of what they want. But man, you're starting to see September pack up, and then you've got 3 of the arguably the biggest games of the year slated for October, and there's just November just sitting there like, what's going on, bro? Why isn't anyone coming out my month? Why isn't anyone coming out here? What's going on with November?
It's the Red Dead effect.
Is the end of the world happening in November? We just don't know about it yet. Everyone's coming out before that, so.
But we haven't even gotten to E3 yet. We haven't even gotten there.
It's scary. It's really scary, but. There you go. September 7th, Spider-Man. Let's move on to the next bit of news. Now, guys, this next story, this is kind of what happens like when you get this far into a life cycle of 2 systems. Everyone's enjoying their PS4s, everyone's enjoying their Xbox Ones and all this stuff. But now we're starting to hit that point in life cycle where rumors start to leak. Things start to come out. People start claiming they have information. And this one site, what's the name of the site, boys?
Short pause. Semi-accurate. that's the irony of all ironies.
Yeah, semi-accurate. Behind a $1,000 subscription fee, claims to have information regarding the PlayStation 5. Early information. They have dude. If you want to read this on the website, you got to pay $1,000.
Or you can just find it in one of the millions of articles that people have transcribed around the internet. Save your $1,000.
This is what we have got so far from this article that people have been able to, like Boy said, kind of dig in there and find out. This is what we have on the PS5 so far, allegedly. The PlayStation 5 will use AMD's Navi as its base architecture. It does not specifically use Navi, though. So this sounds like next-gen stuff. This is something that hasn't been announced yet, but this is the base of what they're using for the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 5 CPU will be Zen. A Zen CPU, which is a step up from what we see right now. I believe it's the Jaguar core. This is going to be an 8-core CPU, which is a vast improvement over the PS4. Apparently, according to this report, a large amount of PS5 dev kits have apparently gone out, which was obviously previously reported by that Marcus Sellers fellow.
Yeah.
So two sources now say PS5 dev kits are out in the wild. The article's author suggests 2018 release of PS5 is not out of the question based on the amount of dev kits released. No way. Unless Sony have collectively gone insane, that seems highly implausible. But maybe an announcement or a tease.
0% chance of the PS5.
There's no way that's coming out this year. Now, here's the most interesting thing. This is the thing I thought was really cool about this. Whether or not it's true, I have no idea. This is all a huge grain of salt. But PS5 will have VR goodies baked into it. That will be that meaning that they're obviously focusing on the headset. The headset is a part of their future plans. If VR stuff is all baked into the system, you won't. That's very interesting as well. But boys, I mean, here we are. We're still the PS4 Pro is still going strong. Xbox One X is still going strong. Now we're starting to hear rumors and things are starting to leak out. It's that talk of next gen talk, man. What's your take on this?
Yeah, whether or not any of this stuff is correct, I have no idea. I mean, certainly this stuff is very plausible. Like, this is not really, out of the realm of possibility at all. This is all very, like, basic stuff. I think it's pretty safe to say that the PlayStation 5 is going to follow the PC architecture of the PlayStation 4. It's going to be a step up in terms of the CPU, the GPU, all that kind of stuff. So the stuff that's mentioned here, is plausible. If it's true or not, who knows, man. I think the more interesting thing to start thinking about at this point is, how close are we to the PlayStation 5? Like this year marks 5 years for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, which is crazy. It does not seem like these systems have been out for 5 years already, come this fall. And one of the criticisms of the last generation was that generation went on too long, right? It went on for 7 years or whatever when all was said and done, 7-8 years for the Xbox 360 and the PS3. So now we're sitting at 5 years here. So if the last generation went on too long, like, we got to be getting close to at least an announcement of the PlayStation 5. I don't think it will be this year. I feel like the earliest that we'll get an announcement is 2019. The earliest release I could see is a fall 2019 release for the system. I think with some of the titles they've got on the horizon, though, with like Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding and The Last of Us Part 2, and Days Gone, like, they've got some really heavy hitters that are not going to hit in 2018 that are going to be planned for 2019. So, I don't know if they would want to maybe ride out another year on the PS4 and then get to the PS5 in 2020. But then at that point, we get to the extended generation thing again. And, is that different now with these mid-cycle refresh consoles, with the PS4 Pro and with the Xbox One X in the middle of things now? And I don't really know. I don't have answers to any of this stuff. I'm just kind of spitballing and just throwing stuff out there. But yeah, I think we're definitely closer to the at least getting some more information about the PlayStation 5 than we are further away from it. So I think it's only a matter of time before Eurogamer or Jason Schreier, one of these guys, like, gets a scoop on this, or Patrick Klepek, or one of these guys, and we like know some more concrete details about this. And I think the earliest we hear about it, though, is maybe in like a February press conference in 2019, like they did for the PlayStation 4.
Now, Frankie, I mean, these types of leaks always tend to happen, this time of a console generation. First of all, when you hear these things, do you get kind of excited? Do you kind of dig into them a little bit? And second of all, where do you think that PS5 is slated, man? Do you think? I mean, obviously, there's no chance this comes out in 2018, right? There's no chance to that. But where do you think is a good spot for the PS5 to come out? I mean, let's talk a little next gen. I know we're all really happy with the current consoles now, but let's start talking about them, because obviously the leaks are going to start coming out. This is how it starts. What's your take on all this?
Typically, I don't really follow like leaks when it comes to the new consoles. Like, it's, what I mean, I could put out some leaks about the PlayStation 5. You know what I mean? So I obviously, we're expecting these things to run on, much more powerful architecture. These are the new things coming out. I think it was like God Rays or something that was being showcased at GDC. So we have an idea of some small things that we can probably expect in these systems. But I don't know if like now is the right time to start throwing out, like this and that. Obviously the Zen, I think, is a processor that's been out for a while. I think that was like long rumored to be in the X before they did their thing. So I mean, some of this stuff could end up panning out, but I typically just like I'll wait for an actual announcement. And like sometimes, I'll like, because as time goes on, especially with when the NX was, we kept hearing all this stuff, and then, what was actually announced, we're like, oh, all right. I mean, so even like the people that, you would think, okay, yeah, well, they sound like a pretty legitimate source, they got a lot of this information that seems like it's from a credible source, and it's not. So I try not to get too much into that stuff. But as far as timing goes, I think where we're at right now, like that slate of games that Ben mentioned, I think that's probably like the sunset, PlayStation 4 lineup. Like, you get those 4 games out, our new box is coming out next, and obviously, we're on PC architecture with these now, so I don't think backwards compatibility is out of the question. So even though those games will be out, and, in theory, I think actually next fall wouldn't be a horrible time. That'll be 6 years, removed from the release of the PlayStation 4. So I think then's maybe a good time to move on to the next thing. Obviously that, 4K is kind of becoming much more of a, I don't want to say like a household staple, but, the TVs are coming down. People are buying them. The X is doing very well. So I see like the demand for that is going to start growing, and I think next year is maybe the time to capitalize on that. So next fall I could totally see like Death Stranding launching, PS4, PS5, maybe Ghost of Tsushima as well, because Sucker Punch. If you have a studio that's going to take advantage of showing off what you can do with new hardware, I think Sucker Punch is that studio, in my opinion. But Definitely late next year though. Honestly though, I wouldn't be surprised if we got an announcement at the PlayStation Experience though. Close out the year with that.
An announcement, or maybe even just a tease, just some kind of
Something.
mention,
Yeah.
something referring to next gen hardware.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It would be weird, knowing that Days Gone's probably coming out in February, and you have the other games that they have announced coming out sometime after that. We assume so. Who knows? And I mean, I could even see The Last of Us 2, Death Stranding. Like you get into some of those that are kind of more recently announced. Those maybe being cross gen, if you will, just because I think The Last of Us 2 is probably going to look amazing. Death Stranding obviously is going to look ridiculously cool. Kojima's going to go all out. That's what he does. So, and even, we've heard things like, Cyberpunk is going to be, a cross-gen game, and that's supposedly targeting 2019, 2020. So I think, that time frame, late 2019, early 2020, probably a good period for the PS5.
And you're right about The Last of Us. I mean, hell, when The Last of Us popped on PS3, it was the same year that the PS4 came out. So it's not it's not unbelievable to think that they could launch Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us 2 next year and still have the PS5 launch in the fall. And like you guys said, this is based on more PC tech. I fully expect backwards compatibility to be a thing. If not, they'll have just we'll see PS5 enhancements, much like you see Pro enhancements with PS4 games. It'll be even souped up more on the PlayStation 5, whether it's higher frame rate, higher fidelity, or what have you. But Bender, your thoughts on these leaks? Do you like these kind of things? Do these kind of get you excited, or could you care less? Or you're waiting just for the full reveal? And also, what do you think in terms of like the PlayStation 5 release date?
Of course, it's exciting to think about the next new thing, and we can always look forward to that. But I like to know when there's concrete information. I mean, like Frankie was mentioning, I am getting flashbacks of like all the NX talk that we talked for months and months and months about what it was going to be and what the specs were. And I was like, I got to a point where I was like, I just don't care anymore. I want to know when it's announced and what the real thing is going to be. So, hopefully we won't get to that level of speculation with the PS5, but I would like to know whenever they're ready to announce it. I would like to know what it's going to be like and all that stuff. As far as the timing is concerned, I agree with the guys as well. I think the 2019 reveal is very possible and possibly a 2020 release. I think that'd be good because the PS4 has had a good run, and give it a couple more good years with some good games to round it out, and then launch the next thing. And I'm sure for a while they'll release things maybe on both systems or whatever. But yeah, whatever happens, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's next for PlayStation and as well as Xbox and everything. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
I think the one thing that I like most about this leak, if you will, is if it's true, the fact that the VR stuff is going to be built into the system. That really shows a commitment to VR on behalf of PlayStation, and that's awesome because I really do think VR is on the right path to being even more and more impressive, more immersive experiences. The games are going to start getting bigger. So if this is in fact true, and a lot of this stuff is accurate based on maybe stuff that they've heard from developers, the fact that VR is built into this system at a base level, that really shows a commitment on Sony's behalf, and that's very encouraging.
There's something else to think about here too, and it's the fact that now with the Xbox One X, like Microsoft has taken back that power crown, right? So they now when these games come out and when Digital Foundry does the comparisons and that kind of stuff, a lot of times the Xbox One X comes out on top now in terms of the specs. So how long does Sony want that to be the narrative now with their games? Like, is 2 years like a good time frame for that? Would they let it go to 3 years that they're lagging behind the Xbox One X? Does that factor into their decisions at all? And the Pro came out 3 years after the PS4 launched. So if we go 6 years into it, that's 2019. That will be 3 years after the Pro launched. So is this the acceptable time frame for these mid-cycle refreshes? I mean, it would make sense if after 3 years they bring out the Pro and that's the mid-cycle console. that 3 years after that would be the new console. That would be
Mhm.
the next one in line. So does that factor into this as well? Is the Pro already giving us a hint of when we're going to see the next PlayStation?
That's the stuff that we've heard so far. Again, take this with a big grain of salt, or if you want to go pay $1,000 to go read the article, I double dare you. That would just be nuts. I mean, why would you put would any of you guys, even if you had the money, spend $1,000 on a website called Semi-Accurate?
No.
No.
Once again, I don't think the story is like what was reported. Like we have no idea if any of this stuff is in any way, shape, or form accurate. I think the story at this point is how close are we to the PS5? Like how close are we to this next generation?
Mm-hmm. So up next, we're gonna talk about Spyro. Spyro Reignited Trilogy hits PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on September 21st. Frankie, you're right. Another September title. Why not? What's your thoughts, buddy, on Spyro Reignited Trilogy?
Well, it's a Friday release, so there's
Yay!
that. But no, the Spyro games I've enjoyed. Granted, I've only actually played through I think 2. Ripto's Rage, I think, was the second game, but that's the only one that I've actually like got to sit down and play through. Just because I had to rely on my cousin's PlayStation back when I was a kid. Never had my own, so I've only ever really dabbled with the first game when I finally got it on the PS3 and Year of the Dragon as well. So I've never finished them because I was in like my trophy craze at that point, and you couldn't get trophies for playing PS1 classics. But now you can. So those are platinum trophies that I'm probably going to want to go for because I love Spyro. I love the Insomniac humor in those games. From what I remember, the gameplay was really fun. So I feel like those games probably are going to hold up pretty well over time. Probably more so than Crash Bandicoot. So sorry, boys.
I see what you did there.
I see
Bandicoot.
that. I see that. Like I'm gonna punch you in the face. Look on your face right now. But yeah, I'm excited. I love Spyro, so that's a definite day one purchase for me.
Bender, any fond memories of Spyro, or are you familiar with the franchise?
I remember that the games existed, but I never actually played a Spyro game before. I never had a PS1. I had a friend who did, but he didn't have the Spyro game, so I never played them. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in checking these games out. They look cool. I love those types of 3D platformers. Since this year, especially in September, is going to be so busy, I might kind of put it off and wait till maybe there's a Switch version that comes out. I mean, like they did with Crash Bandicoot. I think that would be a best way to play it, but we'll see. But I definitely do want to jump into Spyro at some point.
Okay. Ben, where are you at on Spyro? I mean, you look like you'd be a Spyro guy.
Yeah, I mean, Spyro the Drag and emphasis on drag. But
Oh, here we go. Fight.
I like Spyro. I think the remaster looks incredible. Was it Toys from Bob? Is that what they're called? They're Toys for Bob. Is it from Bob?
Toys for Bob.
Toys for Bob. So
Toys and Bob. Bob.
Yeah,
Bob
Toys-
Toys.
Toys for Bob.
Toys for Bob. So obviously they've
Who's Bob?
I don't know. He's a great game developer, but
He likes toys.
yeah. But obviously they've been toiling away on Skylanders for a long time now. They have a close connection to the Spyro franchise. I love the way the remaster looks. The fact that we're getting all 3 of these games. I mean, this was a foregone conclusion after the success of Crash. It was only a matter of when, not if. With this, like everybody knew this was happening. It was just a matter of Activision just getting the ball rolling on this. So, yeah, it's awesome to see that this is going to be finished up. I don't know that September 21st is the best release date for this. This to me would have been much better in a June, July slot as Crash was last
Maybe
year.
November.
Yeah, maybe November, which everything else is vacated out of, or maybe even December, like getting closer to Christmas, would be a good spot for this. But it's gonna be right in like the thick of the fall release season, so I don't know that a remaster of Spyro is gonna get the spotlight that it maybe deserves in that slot. We'll see. I mean, a lot of people have been clamoring for this. A lot of people are excited about this. Yeah, I'm excited about this for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have about 2 minutes of experience with Spyro, and that's watching the trailer for this. So, not really sure how to feel about Spyro. I know there's a lot of people that love it. I know Spyro was a big hit back in the day. I didn't even realize it was an Insomniac joint until just recently. That's how little I knew about Spyro. So, if you're excited for Spyro, let us know in the comments why. Which ones have you played, and are the games that you liked are included in this trilogy? Which ones are included in this trilogy, boys?
All three of them. So you got Spyro, Ripto's Rage, and the Year of the Dragon. So all three of the original PS1 games are in there.
How many Spyro games have there been? Just 3?
Like 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
These are just the ones that matter.
So yeah, these were and so Insomniac did the first 3, and then I think Sony sold Spyro to Universal after that. So there's is it Legend of Spyro? There's another trilogy. Like there's a New Beginning. There's a whole bunch of like Universal, Vivendi, and then Activision acquired it. I think the last like Spyro game before Skylanders was Dawn of the Dragon. So that was out on I think it was like an early PS3, 360. It was on the Wii, but it didn't do very well. Spyro's kind of lost, I think the games have declined after Insomniac was done with them. So there's a good reason people don't talk about those, and a lot of people don't seem to know that there's more than 3 Spyro games outside of Skylanders. So
yeah, they basically reinvented Spyro with Skylanders and kind of reignited the franchise with that line for the last few years. So I don't remember any of the Spyro games after Year of the Dragon.
That's fair. Yeah. Nobody else does either.
All right, so moving on from Spyro, we got a couple more things we want to address. First up, Ubisoft has teased a new event in Ghost Recon Wildlands, but man, they had a big reveal for this because it was pretty sweet. You can see the trailer here.
Matchwood, this is Paladin. Come in.
Go for Matchwood.
Langley has sprung a leak, and they need us to stick our thumb in it. Brush up on your Spanish. You're headed for Bolivia.
Look, I may need some extra firepower.
Got any ideas?
I've got friends in that neighborhood. Call the Ghost.
Michael Ironside's voice.
Who's that?
That is the original voice for Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell. And apparently on April 9th, we're going to get a briefing for a new event taking place in Ghost Recon Wildlands that will involve Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell. There will be some kind of an operation or something along those lines. And I'm assuming it's this next operation that's coming out on April 10th, seeing as this briefing is on April 9th. The first big update is called Special Operations 1. It'll be out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. It will add teammate customization. Allows players to customize their teammates' outfits for every item they have unlocked for their own character. It also includes a new PvP mode called Sabotage. Sabotage is an objective holding mode which comes with 5 maps. The update will also include a new PvP class, new weapons, and new perks. For PvE, Special Operations will add a special themed mission and challenges, as well as content planned for Update 5 Reinforcement and Update 6 Bravo 6 on Ghost War's original roadmap. So here we go, boys. Is this the big Splinter Cell announcement that we heard leaked months ago about Michael Ironside showing up somewhere and talking about how he's in the new Splinter Cell game or working on the new Splinter Cell? Is this it? Are we going to get another half-assed Predator-themed mission, but with Sam Fisher? Is that what we're getting here?
That's probably what we'll be getting inside of Ghost Recon. If I had to guess, this probably won't be anything too substantial. I could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see. But man, there's a lot of stuff happening here. So not only, obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Sam Fisher and about the Splinter Cell franchise in recent memory. It's been 5 or 6 years since the last Splinter Cell. People are getting antsy. They want another Splinter Cell. Obviously, people loved Blacklist. You're one of them. So people are like, all right, where's this guy? When's the next game? It's been a long time now. So there's all that going on. And then also, people weren't exactly thrilled with Ironside being replaced in Blacklist. So not only does Sam Fisher show up here in the midst of everybody talking about him, but he shows up with Ironside's voice on this teaser trailer. So there's got to be more to this, man, than just a throwaway mission in Ghost Recon Wildlands. This has to be hinting towards something else, and this could finally be like the Ubisoft press conference closer at E3. They unveil the next Splinter Cell for us. It's got to be more than just the Wildlands here, man.
I would seriously be pissed if this is the only if they brought Michael Ironside back just for a limited time themed mission.
For a 30-second teaser trailer to tell you you're going to Bolivia. That was it.
I got some friends there. Okay, sweet. Frankie, your thoughts on this reveal? And this can't be the only Splinter Cell thing we see this year, right?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God! You always gotta play devil's advocate. I hate you.
Yeah. So now you're gonna get Splinter Cell customization items, and Sam Fisher is going to give you your mission.
That's exactly. He's gonna be on the mic calling the mission out for you.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll be like Angela Bassett all over again.
Oh man, just another wasted talent. I'd be so devastated.
No,
Let's
but
hope not.
This has to be. Splinter Cell has been out of the. I don't even think they've had a game out since 2013 was when Blacklist came out.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're long overdue for that, and I think especially now. I think Spies vs. Mercs, especially. I would love to get back into that. I love Spies vs. Mercs and Blacklist. It was a lot of fun. So, I don't know, in the grand scheme of things, obviously, Ubisoft has Siege going. Wildlands, of course, is very multiplayer focused. The Crew 2 is going to be coming out soon. I'm not sure if maybe they're just kind of not shying away from doing a new Splinter Cell multiplayer type of thing because of that. They've already got a ton of multiplayer games out. I think Skull and Bones is coming out this year too. That pirate game.
Yes, I remember that too.
Yeah,
and we haven't heard a thing about that in a while.
Yeah, which bums me out because they look pretty cool. But I don't know. I feel ready for a new Splinter Cell game, especially a new story. Blacklist, from what I remember playing of it, was really awesome. So good. It's time. It's time to bring them back.
I agree 100%. I'm hoping that this is just kind of because this happens this thing's going to happen 2 months before E3. This kind of gets the hype going. You hear Michael Ironside, the fans are thrilled, and then they'll have this mission that'll carry on for a month, a limited time event. But I believe the Predator is still in Bolivia. It's just you can't earn any of the rewards if you kill him. So I'm sure this will remain in there. But this has to be a hint to kind of get you fired up for possibly a new Splinter Cell game. So really excited about this. The other bit of Ubisoft news.
Wait, Brent. The Predator is still in Bolivia?
Yeah, he's still there.
You could still fight him, but you don't get anything? What's the point?
Hey, it's the Predator, man.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be cool.
Kill the Predator.
Yeah. I thought that was a lame
mission. Is that enough for you?
No, man, I want the helmet.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because that battle's such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So when you finally complete it, it'd be nice to get something, but man.
Savage.
How'd you like to be the person that's in for a rude awakening? Like they didn't realize that Predator's in the game. Like, oh man, we're fighting the Predator. They finish the mission, and at the end they're like, "Congratulations."
No, it doesn't. Nothing happens. It's just
it's nothing.
The Predator just falls to the ground dead and blows up, and they're like, "Okay, go back onto your mission." It's like, oh, okay. So no, I just hope it's.
If Predator's still in the game, like why would his rewards not be in the game?
It's a limited time thing, man. Yeah, probably that too. Who knows? But moving on from that, we got some Far Cry 5 news. It is the fastest selling game in that franchise's history. As detailed by Ubisoft, the latest entry in the series has more than doubled Far Cry 4's first week sales, with digital distribution accounting for more than half of those sales.
Wow.
Digital, more than half of the sales, and it's doubled Far Cry 4, which is pretty impressive. But Far Cry 5 is now also the second biggest launch ever for a Ubisoft title. It trails only behind Tom Clancy's The Division with $310 million in consumer spending over its first week.
Damn. Wow.
Seriously, its second biggest launch ever. That's insane.
It's crazy.
Additionally, players have streamed Far Cry for more than 55,000 hours on Twitch and YouTube featuring the game and have garnered over 117 million views. Both are records for a Ubisoft game in the first week after launch. So, boys, Far Cry 5, just a massive outing for Ubisoft.
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling it was going to be big when it was coming out. A lot of hype around it. The early buzz was good from people that had played the game. The reviews have been stellar on the title. and everybody seems to really, really be enjoying the game. So I mean, it's just kind of the perfect convergence of marketing and pre-release hype and just delivering on the promise of the game. And yeah, people are going pretty gaga over this game.
Indeed. Frankie, your thoughts on those Far Cry 5 numbers?
That's insane. I, of course, am a fraud and ended up picking up a gold edition because that's just the person I am. So I contributed to this. I hate myself. But that's cool. I think the Far Cry games have always been kind of cool, except for 3. I really don't understand this fascination with Far Cry 3. But whatever. Got a platinum trophy in it, so I don't care. But no, I really liked when I played a Far Cry 4. It's another one I got a platinum in, so I feel like I should probably get the platinum in 5. Seems silly to not at this point. I mean, I should go back and do 2. Oh, you probably can't do 2 because there's multiplayer crap. But whatever.
Probably.
But, yeah, so I mean, I'm looking forward to hopping into it. I know, you're enjoying it. A couple other people I know are playing it. Also say it's really good. Debating on double dipping at some point, getting the X version because I'm stupid. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore.
It's just money, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we're using that short pause money.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Don't use the card for a couple weeks.
Yeah, it already came back declined today. So, and the last bit of news, of course, it's going to be sad news. Frankie, this one's going to affect us because we both enjoyed this game. But LawBreakers, the team behind that, Boss Key Productions, is moving on from LawBreakers. In a recent statement, Boss Key Productions development team confirmed that the game failed to find enough of an audience to generate the funds necessary to keep it sustained in the manner we had originally planned for and anticipated. The team here has worked hard on LawBreakers over the past 3.5 years, and our studio is determined to give this game the second life it deserves. While a pivot to free-to-play may seem like the easiest change to make, a change of this magnitude takes publishing, planning, and resources. Between now and then, when the change to LawBreakers takes place, Boss Key has begun development on a new game. We will continue to support LawBreakers in its current state, but we also need to focus on other projects with fresh creative leaders. The statement continues, we have been working on something new and we can't wait to share more about it. The team describes the new game as a passion project they are in complete control of. Boss Key ends by thanking players for their ongoing understanding and patience. So, Frankie, the Boss Key Productions is stepping away from LawBreakers. It's going to transition to a free-to-play model. What's your thoughts, man? I know you're kind of bummed about this as much as I am because we actually both played it and we actually really enjoyed what we played.
Yeah, I think LawBreakers is really cool. Going free-to-play, actually, I think that's a good thing. It's a multiplayer-only game, so if no one's playing it, we're just waiting for, minutes on end trying to get into a match. That sucks. But, going free to play, I'm hoping people will check it out and, we'll have a larger player pool to get in there and mess around with it. But, yeah, I mean, I guess this isn't really surprising. We've heard, people following the Steam numbers because apparently everyone likes to laugh at, games that are failing, which really annoys me. But, obviously, like, the player base for this game has been dwindling since launch, unfortunately. And I think that's been the case on the PS4. I mean, I've hopped in a couple times and I've been able to get into a match. But it's a bummer, it's kind of like, for me, it's like, like Ben and JD has talked about this a lot too, but it's just like, we can really only get into so many multiplayer games at a time, Right. So, and when that thing came out, there was a lot of other stuff coming out around it as well, but you've already got your established, like Destiny 2, Destiny 2 wasn't out yet. So you still have Destiny out and,
PUBG. I think PUBG came out at that time. It was shortly after PUBG.
Yeah, it was a couple months after PUBG started blowing up. Fortnite's Battle Royale thing I think came out around that time too. Obviously, you got Battlefield, Call of Duty. You have all these other multiplayer games that people are into, and it's just, I can't imagine it's easy launching a game like that, multiplayer only. You know what I mean? Like, as good as that game is, like, it's not going to pull people away from Overwatch or anything else that they're playing. Like, it's this cool, like, oh yeah, that was awesome. Like, you and I, we fired it up, I think, one time, and it you know what I mean? It was fun. It was a lot of fun, but we have other stuff we're really invested in already, so it's hard to see a game like that come out and, expect it to find a large, user base, despite who created it. So.
No, you're right about that, man. It came out at a rough time. Even though we both played it, we thought it ran great. We thought it looked good. It was fun. It was exciting. It had some unique modes to play. But it just, for whatever reason, it just did not catch on with gamers in general, and that's unfortunate because it is a pretty fun game. But like you said, the fact that it's going to transition to free to play will obviously give it a little bit more exposure. But at that point, it's not making them any money, and that's unfortunate because it really does have some good DNA and it is fun to play. But that's the way gaming works. If it doesn't catch on quick, it doesn't catch on at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, boys, your thoughts on LawBreakers going bye-bye?
Yeah, I mean it's not shocking. This game was basically DOA, like you guys talked about. It was basically dead as soon as it came out. Unfortunately, like Frankie mentioned, even though you guys liked it, you played it one night, and for whatever reason, it just did not catch on with people. So whether or not that was just the other games that were out at the time, or I don't know if it's just because it seemed like it was trying to be like one of these hero shooters, and there was a lot of those coming out, and obviously Overwatch is still a big thing, so it's hard to get into that like crowd right now and break into there. So yeah, for whatever reason, the game just didn't work out with it going free to play at this point, and the developers leaving the title. I think it's only a matter of time before this thing sunsets for good. So if you're interested in playing this game, get in there and play it now. But the end is nigh for LawBreakers.
That's a damn shame because it really is fun. So Project Platinum. Yeah, get in there and knock it out while you can. So
what's the platinum look like in this game? Is it time consuming?
Probably.
Yeah.
I didn't really look into it at the time. I know there's a couple I figured I was never going to get. So it wasn't something I was going to actively gun for, but it would be cool. I know you have to hit max level. That's probably the biggest problem.
Well, if you guys go after that,
we'll have to look into that.
Yeah, if we do some research and if you guys go after it, I might hop in there and play that with you guys. I did enjoy that game. I thought it was really fun. That team-based mode we played, Frankie, was a hoot. It was really, really fun. So
Blitzball? God, Blitzball is awesome.
Blitzball. And if Frankie hates sports and he likes Blitzball, that goes to show how damn fun that mode is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forget which character I was using, but he has a rocket slide, so I'd grab the ball and slide in, and God, that game was fun.
It was seriously intense. There were some awesome matches when we played it. It was really, really exciting. I really enjoyed that game. So
yeah,
if you guys do go on a Project Platinum run, let me know. I'll definitely play along with that. So
hell yeah.
But that's going to do it for this week's show. We would love to hear from you. Make sure you sound off in the comments. Hit us up an email, podcast@shortpause.com. We want to hear from you. Also, don't forget, come over to the website, www.shortpause.com. We're doing a giveaway for one copy of the God of War Stonemason edition that runs for $149.99. We're doing the draw. We're taking entries right now. We will do the drawing on Thursday night. Shortly after the ballots will close or the entries will close at 9 o'clock. We're going to be doing a stream that night talking about God of War before it launches. We will announce the winner right then and there. So we're really looking forward to that. Head over to the website. Make sure you get your entry in. We'd love to give back to our community. We really appreciate your support. This is our chance to give back to you. Make sure you come on over and enter in. It's real simple. It takes a couple seconds and it'll be good to go.
Done.
Gentlemen, another one? All right. Gentlemen, where can we find you gaming and tweeting? Frankie.
You can find me on Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, Twitter, Nintendo Switch, pretty much everywhere at Dayloon1989.
Make sure you spam that Dayloon1989. So
yeah, definitely do that.
Bender.
I'm on Twitter at Bender_guitar. You can find me on PlayStation Network and Nintendo Network at me_Bender. And I'm on Xbox Live at meBender82.
Boys?
As always, Brent, I will be not tweeting at Piccolo930. It's my PSN ID. It's where you can find me on the Xbox, on the Switch as well. We'll be firing up the Tuesday Night Indie Spotlight on Tuesday on our YouTube channel at Short Pause Gaming. So make sure you come on over there, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, get in the comments, talk to us, all that fun stuff. Love to see you there. Once again, we'll be doing a doubleheader. So we'll have Owlboy at 10 p.m. and then at 11 p.m. we'll fire up Super Daryl Deluxe with Frankie on the stream.
Oh, yeah.
And, it'll be a good time.
Indeed. I'll be tuning in for both of those. Can't wait to see you guys play those games. I'm really curious. about Super Darrow Deluxe. So I really hope that game's good because it looks awesome.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at the Dude1979, Xbox Live, the Real Dude79, PlayStation Network, and Nintendo Network, the Dude79. Make sure you visit the website, www.shortpause.com. Follow us on Twitter at the Short Pause. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Google Play, and Stitcher, or you can watch it on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. All of those, Short Pause Gaming. If you like this podcast, if you really, really like it, go over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, write out a nice review why you like the show. It helps us get us exposure. We really, really appreciate that. If you're not quite ready to give us a 5-star rating, that's fine. We don't want any fake ones. Come over to the website, go into the podcast post for this particular episode, sound off in the comments with your feedback, criticisms, suggestions, anything. We need to hear from you. Email podcast@shortpause.com or hit us up on Twitter. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts on the topics that we're talking about. We want to hear your feedback, your criticisms, anything that you think would make the show better. That's the only way the show will get better is if we hear from you. For Mr. Boyce, Mr. Holt, and Mr. Ayler, I'm Brent Felsing. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.